Hey, everybody, welcome to another brand new live episode of the Outlaw Nation Show here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I am the Outlaw, John Rocha, and I'm so happy that you all are joining me tonight. I am so excited to have my guest come on and join me. Going to introduce him in just a little bit, but if you saw the thumbnail, you know that my guest is going to be one-third of the Geek Buddies, Shannon McClung. We are old friends of years and tears, hanging and banging for a number of decades. So it's going to be a lot of fun to sit down and talk with him about everything that's going on in his world, about us, like how we've been navigating these WandaVision reviews, getting his thoughts a little more like unencumbered, because sometimes Michael takes all the attention and speaks for 20 minutes straight. So now we're going to get to talk one-on-one, me and Shannon, which is going to be a lot of fun. And then we're also going to get into what he's on right now, which is like he's on a DC animated movies kick right now, and I just recently saw the new trailer that dropped a few days ago for Justice League in World War II, set in World War II. Looks pretty badass. So that looks exciting as hell. So we're talking about why he's on this kick now. We're also going to get into other things going on in his life. He's an actor who's been a number of things, and then now he's an animation writer, a producer, a burgeoning producer, and other things. So there's a lot going on in the world of Shannon McClung. I'm sure some of you who are watching me now have really enjoyed getting to know him over the last year that he's been doing the Geek Buddies, or year plus, actually. He's been doing the Geek Buddies podcast and the Geek Buddies show, being on the Outlaw Nation channel. So definitely be patient. He will be on in just a few minutes. I got to do a little housekeeping here. Let you know, first of all, thank you so much for so many of you who have signed up and joined us here on the Outlaw Nation channel. Subscribers, we're almost at 16,000 so quickly. We're at 15,600 something. I mean, it just seemed like yesterday we were at 15,000 subscribers. So it's been incredible to see so many people come aboard the train and subscribe to the channel and enjoy the content that we've got going on here. You guys know we do a number of things here on the channel. Yesterday we had sports time, or game time rather. We had game time on there with Winston A. Marshall, Jay Washington, our special guest, JTE, my faction mate, the Finstock Exchange. Talked a lot of football, covered the Super Bowl. We literally talked for the Super Bowl, about the Super Bowl, for an hour and 45 minutes, then talked some of the potential trades in the NFL. Didn't even get to the NBA story that we want to get to, but that will certainly become the focus now as we move away from the NFL for a little bit and move towards the NBA and MLB, and maybe even a sprinkle of NHL, a little ice sprinkle of NHL thrown in, as well as we talk about everything going on in the world of sports. Tomorrow, we got a new episode of the Geek Buddies that'll be dropping on the Outlaw Nation channel as well, and on the podcast feed. There will not be a new Jedi Way tomorrow. Laura Kelly she has a match coming up, so I thought it would be smarter to just let her be, let her study or whatever. I may plan for something else tomorrow night on the Outlaw Nation channel. I don't know yet. I don't know what it's going to be, but we've got a slot, so maybe we'll throw a show in there, have a little fun with you all there. And then Thursday, of course, Impolite Truths. Me and Torina Arellano talking about the latest going on, and I'm sure some of you watched the debacle that was that impeachment trial this morning, and those two poor lawyers that were just absolutely, completely out of their depth. One rambling incoherently for well on 7 hours, it felt like. The other one crying at the end, reading a poem. Perhaps you're crying for Trump. You're crying for Trump. It was just like madness to watch this kind of stuff going on. But we'll definitely be talking about it on Thursday night on Impolite Truths. Put that in your calendar. And also on Friday, Strong Style. Me and Aaron Turner back with our pro wrestling show as well. And also, don't forget, I'm on SCN Live. I'll be on tomorrow as a guest. I think Brett is hosting tomorrow, Brett Sheridan. And then on Friday, I'll be hosting on SCN Live as well. So that's my schedule. We also just dropped the new episode of the Top 10 acting do-over. So Matt Nost and I brought our lists, and we were talking about the top 10 actors or actresses that we'd like to see take another shot at a role that they did before in either a bad movie or a franchise that didn't really do right by them. So we went through all of that. It was a fun discussion for sure. So please make sure you listen to that. And don't forget, the Cinephiles also dropping on Friday. part 1 of The Godfather Part 2. We just finished our 3-part exploration of The Godfather. I have a feeling Godfather Part 2 might be 5 parts, so buckle the F in for that one for sure. But tonight is the Outlaw Nation Show, and I'm excited to be welcoming to the show here my friend. And let me remind you, ladies and gentlemen, the Streamlabs and the Super Chats are open all night. Shannon McClung is also going to be revealing some behind-the-scenes Comic-Con stories. So maybe if we get to a certain amount, we'll throw one story. Another amount, we'll throw another story in, kind of like we did with Michael Vogel. So it's going to be a lot of fun tonight for sure. Thanks to everybody who's joining us live. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you're joining us later, a lot of you do, don't forget to leave a comment as well as hitting that like button. Comments and likes, always positive things that elevate the visibility of this show and this channel. I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you all have done so far for the channel. All right, let's get into it without further ado. This is, gentlemen, as I mentioned just a few seconds ago, we have been friends for quite some time. We've been through all the hills and valleys over the last 20 years that men can go through, and we've been there by each other's side just kind of been there for each other through everything. And I don't know what more you can add to that other than that there are certain people you meet in your life and you just know you're going to be friends with that person. We've never even had a cross word. We've had a disagreement. We've never had a cross word. And that's kind of been a rare thing. For those of you who know how passionate and emotional I get, you know that's a rarity in this life, that I can have a friend like that in this world. We've gone to see, we're movie buddies as well as geek buddies, but also it's been incredible to watch this man fight and claw and scratch and make a living out here in Los Angeles. He is an actor. He is an animation writer now, transitioning possibly into that as a full-time career, a burgeoning producer, and 1/3 of the Geek Buddies, as I said. And most of all, honestly, when you strip everything away, my friend. And I'm excited to welcome him here for the first time as my guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the great Shannon McClung. Hello. Perfect.
Just in case the Clown Prince of Crime gets brought up later, I figured I'd bone up on my Joker history. Just in case the conversation goes that way. Not saying it will. Not saying it has to. I bring in no expectations into this except for a conversation with my buddy John.
Hello. How are you, man? How are things? Oh, yes. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be drinking tonight. This is what Shannon and I normally do. We'll have a beer. He's watching his svelte frame, so he's not going to join me with a beer here, but I've got a couple of beers. I've got something called Black Mirror that is from Deschutes Brewery. I don't know if it has a description, Shannon, to be honest with you. Let's see.
Well, it's a stout, and that's your go-to.
Yeah. It's a barley wine, ale rich with notes of toffee and dried fruit, presented in darkness. So I like it. That's perfect. We're gonna pop this one open. I don't even know if I remember how to open beers anymore, man. It's been so long.
Well, yeah, you're not a big drinker at home.
No. I rarely drink at home, but I drink with you. Absolutely. Oh, it smells fantastic. Fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. Smells fantastic.
If I make it all the way through this enormous vodka soda, I do have. If I get a second drink, it will be a beer. Like I will have one beer. Whenever John and I would go, we had a couple of places that we would go to. One is the former Timmy Nolan's, which is in Toluca Lake, here in Southern California, which is a great Irish pub. I mean, just a great, like, John and I were consistently placed in the top 3 in their trivia competition.
Yes,
where there would be 2 of us going up against teams of 12.
Yeah.
But then we also love to frequent Golden Road Brewery.
Yes,
which is in Glendale, California, and
so much fun.
Oh yeah, we have many a drunken afternoon when neither one of us were working on a weekday where it's like, well, I hope you're comfortable because we can't drive yet.
Yeah, that's one of the fun things that I miss about being in LA for sure, and especially pre-COVID is just texting my buddy Shannon and being like, hey man, I got a few hours. I'm not doing anything. The ladies at work, I'm not working right now. Do you want to go get a beer? And we would end up inevitably at one of the brewery places and just hang out and have a few beers. And it's always Shannon going, do you want another? Do you want another? Sure you don't want another? Do you want another? Sure you want another? I'll drink if you're going to drink. I'll drink if you're going to drink. and inevitably, because I go for the high-end stouts, that, Shannon. I go for the 12, like anywhere from the 10 to 15 to 20% alcohol content. That's my bag. That's where I exist.
Yeah, you like to get one of those high ABV beers, and then you will drink it. You will nurse the. I won't say nurse. You will work on it. I won't say nurse.
Yeah.
You will work on it for an hour, whereas I will kind of get one after the other. The funny thing is, like, I'm an IPA guy. I enjoy a good IPA. And as John was sort of getting into the world of beers, the craft beers, that is, and figuring out what he did and what he didn't like, every once in a while, I would trick him into trying IPAs, which John hates. It's super hoppy. They're kind of dank. But the greatest trick was having John try one of these and seeing the moment that he realized I'd got him again.
That's true. That's true.
It would hit his tongue, and he'd no.
I'm like, get it away. Get it away. It was the worst. That's for sure. Well, cheers to you, my friend. Cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers, sir.
Who is watching us here? Not too shabby. Nice. Yeah, very rich going down. I like it. Good stuff. Well, hey, dude, I have you here. We're hanging out tonight for a couple of hours, and the fans are in there. Please, ladies and gentlemen, send in your super chats and Streamlabs for any questions you have for Shannon McClung. We're going to get into so many things here tonight. Send in any suggestions, any topics, any questions you might have. We're open to all of it. But I guess we better start, man. As I mentioned here at the top, maybe we should just start with our story, man. Let's tell people, or should we hold out on that one? Maybe we should hold out on that one and tell people. We'll tell you our story, how we met, the crazy way we met, and then we've got some Comic-Con stories for you all. So, what do you think? What do you think, Sean? At the what do you think at the $100 level? What do you think? $100 level. If we get to $100, Shannon will tell you the crazy story of how we met and got to know each other and how we became friends, because it's a crazy, crazy story. And ironically, ended up working at the same place 20 years later, or a few years, almost 20 years later, for sure. That's for sure. So let's see here. If we got any that have come through, just want to check real quick before we move forward. All right. So, yeah, Shannon, we've been doing these WandaVision reviews, get deep into the lore of this thing. What has been your experience being a part of the Geek Buddies and then jumping into the reviews? Because I've asked you to review some movies with me on the channel. Do you feel that you have a natural ability to do this kind of thing because we've always kind of mini reviewed films whenever we've gone to see them?
I mean, I wouldn't call it a natural ability. I feel like in terms of natural ability for this type of thing, this is your bag, baby. I mean, this is something you're meant to do. And Vogel can go on for hours about any topic.
I think he's just finishing something he started on Monday. Started talking about yesterday. So yeah, he just finished talking about it right now. Yeah.
I keep waiting for my phone to ding, like he knows what I'm talking about. But no, I mean that's kind of what the basis of our friendship has always been, our mutual love of movies. And it wasn't often that either just you and I or our entire group, it wasn't often that we would meet just for a movie. Right. There was always sort of a pregame. There was always sort of a post-mortem where we would go. I mean, like one of the great places, at least in LA, is the ArcLight, because there's actually a bar inside the movie theater. So we'd meet there about an hour early. We'd stay about an hour afterwards. The thing with WandaVision that I've been loving, and I don't recall if we have actually said this on the reviews or not, because we've been saying a lot. Our last one was 2 hours long.
And now our most watched review. I was so afraid when we dropped a 2-hour review about a 40-minute show that people would not want to listen to it, but they have. And the average watch time right now is almost 40 minutes on that, and that's pretty incredible. Wow. So, I think we just crossed 17,000 views on that. So if you haven't watched it, please do. Anyway, sorry, Shannon, go ahead.
Well, no, it's crazy that we talked for 2 hours about a 35-minute episode of television, that we more than tripled what the actual length of the episode was.
Yeah.
The thing that I've been loving about WandaVision is it really scratches this itch, the mystery, that sort of appointment television that Lost used to be. Right. And ultimately, especially towards the end, what, like season 7, like I think we would all meet over at Vogel's that last season. And then it got to the end and it was just so, the majority of the room felt a little deflated by by the end. Like there were so many great episodes in that last season. We're so excited to where sort of the plateau of what this show is going to be, and it's like, oh, it's that thing everybody guessed in the first season,
right?
And then to hear, I can't remember if it was J.J. Abrams or Damon Lindelof, but they said like, no, we know how the show is going to end. It's like, well, okay, like Jack's eye, sure, that's not really you know the last shot. You don't know how it's going to end. No, I love that we're getting the Marvel mystery, which is not something that we've gotten before. I mean, not to my knowledge. I mean, the stories, you know, there might be a mystery as to how the Infinity Stones are going to come into play, but in terms of week to week trying to figure out what actually is going on, it's so much fun, and we all kind of notice things a little differently. Me, you, Vogel, and Emma. I mean, the things like after the first episode, it was like, oh, if the hands of a clock are on a certain time, look that up. Because it seems like everything in this world is deliberate. I remember after watching the first episode, before going into episode 2, it was sort of like, so this is the thing that we've been waiting for. We've had this drought of MCU content. The first thing we get back, I'm like, it's kind of funny. It's kind of cute. And like, there's clearly something else going on. But then when I went back and watched it again, and then it was sort of, and it would have been like, what, 12:30 or 1 in the morning, going back and be like, okay, really pay attention here. Really look and see what's going on. The whole line of Vision or Wanda saying, you know, my husband, his indestructible head. It's like, well, that's not true. Like, we found that out in Infinity War. Like his head is very, very destructible. But yeah, just figuring out the different things that we all bring to it. Vogel is great at structure. Like he's able to pull things out, and this is why he's such a great person to write with. Excuse me. What he is able to bring, the things he's able to pick out, I don't see it all. You see things on a whole other level. Like, and this is why I love. No, it's why I love listening to Cinephiles. I love listening to you and Steve chat about things, because there are things like, God, I did not. That's something I totally didn't see. But it's been so much fun. And because the quality of the show has been so high, I have to think they're going to stick the landing. You know, we never know. Things could always go off the rails. But at this point, it seems like they're probably going to stick the landing.
Do you feel like there are people, like you feel like Marvel and Kevin Feige has done what a lot of people suggest other studios do? And by that, I mean, do you think they have a team, a small team of nerds, a small team of geeks or critics, geek critics, who like watch their stuff ahead of time or read their stuff ahead of time and like have input on it, or say like, oh, well, if you do this, it's going to look like this? Or do you think their team of writers are just this good? Because Shannon, it's an incredible thing they've done over the last 10 plus years, being able to navigate all these movies with the occasional misstep. And you can defend, and I've seen people defend just about every movie in the MCU, including Iron Man 2 or the Hulk film. They found a way to generally make good to great movies overall. And now the first TV show, in essence, other than, you know, the less said about Inhumans, the better, is really kind of on that level of some of the best work they've done in the MCU movies.
Yeah, I mean, I think the team of geeks that you're talking about, I think that's the people who work for them. I think the people that are doing the research, you know, the assistants. Like, I think right now, you know, if you're able to get to Hollywood and you have sort of a deep comic book knowledge, the likelihood that you could probably get a job in some capacity at Warner Brothers and or Marvel or any other studio that has sort of, you know, comic book properties under their belt is probably very high. I mean, they want people who know what they're talking about. I mean, there's always plenty of ways that a movie or a TV series can go wrong. I mean, as your Cinephiles partner has said many times, like making movies, it's hard. Like it's really, really hard. And there are so many ways, like there's so many things that have to fall into place to make something not just make sense, but also to make it entertaining.
Right.
So I have to think that most of the people who are working at Marvel, I mean, even if you have some writers like, WandaVision has a writer's room. I think it's five or six writers, I think.
Yeah.
They may not all have the deepest comic book knowledge, but I bet at least one of them does. Probably more than one. And there are people there saying, you can do this, you can't do this. And also, I think Kevin Feige is also, I don't think you could weave this type of universe together without intimately knowing these characters.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's the thing that I find fascinating too, when you look at the lore of what they're doing here, the little Easter eggs they leave for you, little tidbits, little hints, little allusions to things that if you're a comic book fan and you're looking deep, you'll get them. But if you're a regular fan, you don't have to look that deep if you don't want to. You don't have, it'll come. One way or another, it'll be there, right? We're just trying to guess what's going to come before it shows up, right? But most people are just watching the shows just to watch the shows and wonder what's coming next. We're trying to guess what's coming next. And there's the difference, right? So the fact that it can work on both levels, I think, speaks volumes about how good the show is. And it's very relatable to something like Get Out. Get Out is a great horror film if you just want to watch a horror film. Like, who isn't afraid of having their soul stuck into an old person's body and having to be essentially stuck in a constant state of limbo, falling through a never-ending hole while the other person uses your physical body to keep going on with their life and takes your life from you? Just on that level, it's a horror film that is worth watching. But then you add the social aspects to it, and if you want to kind of pick up on all those clues, then the film has even deeper levels of enjoyment and richness for you to be fascinated by. And I feel the same way with WandaVision. It is working on so many levels, but certainly the number one level it's working on, and the most important level it has to work on, is the surface level.
Yeah. I mean, and like it probably took me, I don't know if someone pointed it out to me or if someone, or if I was the one that saw it on a repeat viewing, but with Allison Williams having the milk and the cereal, the multicolored cereal separate. Like,
right.
That's such an innocuous little detail that is 100% deliberate. And with WandaVision, Thursday at midnight is the thing I look forward to every week now. In the past, being an actor, your auditions take place Monday through Friday. So for an actor who's really champion at the bit to work, the weekends are the worst time because more than likely there's no phone calls coming. There's no opportunities or any auditions presenting themselves. Monday is like, all right, here we go. I'm ready to start. It has, the pandemic has obviously changed that a little, but because of WandaVision, Thursday at midnight is the thing that I look forward to every week. I'm so excited on Monday to be like, all right, 3 more nights, 2 more nights. And like I do my best at this. I don't always succeed, but I try to watch the first viewing of WandaVision. I try to watch for enjoyment. But because there's so much built up at this point, and sort of, the magnifying glass is always up. I don't always succeed at it, but the great thing that I feel like everyone is enjoying with the show, I hope at least, is it's the water cooler show. I mean, for us, in the time we're living, it's the IM show. Did you see this? Did you see that? It's so much fun having something to chat about friends and family with that. It's a brief kind of respite from everything that's going on in our world.
Absolutely. And let's take a brief respite ourselves. Hey, thank you so much. We're at 156, 150, y'all watching us live right now. Please hit that like button as we go along with this fun conversation with my guest, Shannon McClung. Please hit that like button for sure. Let's get to a couple of Streamlabs super chats have come in here. First super chat, Chris Taylor says, wild theory here. Jean Grey is the one controlling Wanda, and that is how we get Xavier. I mean, listen, For those of you who haven't watched it, maybe just turn the sound down a little bit. I don't want to spoil it too much, but if you have watched it, great. And I imagine this is actually, Chris, a thought I had the other day, just randomly yesterday. I think yesterday when I was randomly just playing a video game for an hour, it occurred to me, well, if they open the door, and they literally opened the door to the possibility of X-Men, is it possible that a new Jean Grey comes into this? I can't see Sophie Turner coming back to play her necessarily, but maybe a new Jean Grey shows up. And is this the way to introduce them on the small screen and lead them into the big screen? I wonder.
Yeah, as to this theory, I try to think of how these people are connected to Wanda. And because Xavier hasn't been introduced, because Magneto hasn't been introduced, because Jean Grey hasn't been introduced, it's not going to pack that sort of emotional wallop. That's not to say I'm right. I could be 100% wrong for, weeks. I scoffed at John's idea that a certain Jedi was going to show up at The Mandalorian. So,
and then it happened.
And then it happened. One or two people watching that show got a little heads up that it was going to happen.
They didn't get a heads up. They got a possible hint.
But that's kind of why I doubt it has anything to do with Jean Grey. But again, I could be wrong.
Yeah. Lewis Cox says Shannon McClung is Wolverine. Come on, Marvel. Come on, Marvel. I mean,
Lewis, that is incredibly flattering. I do not have enough testosterone in my body. I don't think there's enough protein powder at all the GNCs to get me into Logan shape. But thank you very much. I have auditioned. I mean, I was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is was not MCU. I have auditioned for some MCU projects, nothing on the level of Logan. But yeah, man, I mean, even just working on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there was a very, very large NDA, not quite a phone book, but more like the white pages. A very large NDA that you had to sign because they were so secretive, and especially like I was on in the second season, so they were still sort of tangentially connected at that point. By the end, I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was like, all right, let's do our own thing and make our show as good as it can be. But God, to be in an MCU project, I mean, the things that I have auditioned for, I'm kind of like, I won't be heartbroken if I don't get this, because I would like to go out for something bigger, ideally.
Down the road, you never know. The road. I mean, you've got a Martin Freeman vibe to you. Why not? I think that's certainly possible.
Oh man, you are not the first you are not the first person to tell me that.
I'm just saying, it's certainly possible. Drunken Prayer says, "Hi Shannon and John. I have a theory that Vision is going to snap and become an antagonist by the end of the show. He seemed close to the edge in the last episode. Thoughts?" All right, thanks, Drunken Prayer. Appreciate that. Yeah, please keep sending in your Streamlabs and Super Chat. See the address as it's blinking down below there, or rolling down below the banner. I also pinned it to the chat. We're trying to get to $100. We get to $100, and then Shannon will tell you the story of how we met. We get to $200, and Shannon will tell you one of the best Comic-Con stories involving me and him, and one of the most rarest disagreements you'll ever, like, we had a disagreement. We've never had disagreement. That was almost a blow up that we had, and we'll talk about it if we get to the $200 mark. So there you go.
Some spectators would have said it was a blow up.
Yeah, some spectators would have. Maybe they would have. But people are passionate. Sometimes people forget. Passion is not anger. This idea. What do you think? This idea of Vision maybe becoming the antagonist. So many people speculating that it's going to be Wanda who's the villain. Wanda's going to be the antagonist. Do you think it's possible that Vision becomes the antagonist in this thing?
I don't. My prediction, which changes every week with each new episode, is that Vision, Wanda said in the last episode, like, I don't know how I got here. My prediction is that Vision is going to get closer and closer to the truth, and whoever is sort of the grand puppet master might take him out.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to result in him being a villain.
Yeah, I don't think so either. As much, and I understand the question of where it's coming from. I totally get it. He was frustrated, but not in an angry way. Like, I want to get what I want at any expense. He was frustrated because he felt like his free will had been taken away from him. He said, I have no memory of anything before this time. So it's like there was a time where he had all these things that he did. And for an incredibly intelligent entity like Vision to not be able to reference any time before the current time, it must be incredibly frustrating if you can throw emotion into the mix of what in essence is a machine. But he does love Wanda, though. Yeah.
And what it was doing to him was sort of an after effect. His first thing was the concern about the people, about Norm primarily. Like, this guy has a family. He's not allowed. He can't talk to them because of what you are doing.
Right.
This is not right. So even though we definitely saw that sort of rare emotional outburst from Vision, I think it's all coming from a very, very wholesome place.
Right.
The vulnerability, I think someone, even a synthezoid, has to expose to say, I am scared. Like, that's not an easy thing for people to say. And the idea that Wanda is the principal puppet master, I don't think is true. Yeah. But yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out in 2 nights and 6 hours.
Yeah, and to let you all know, just because we've debated something on a show for 2 hours doesn't mean that the Geek Buddies are done talking about it. Later on that evening, we got into an hour back and forth about the possibilities of what might be happening in WandaVision, based on my theories, based on Michael's theories and Shannon's theories. But it was like the show all over again, with Michael and I throwing in massive texts that were this long, and Shannon occasionally peppering in his succinct analysis and thoughts, which I appreciate. But yeah, it doesn't end for us. Like, this is a real life that we're always debating and arguing. Michael and I come from 2 different places about it, and Shannon always seems to find that middle ground in between the two, with his own points of views as well. I hope I'm not being out of turn by saying that.
No, not at all. I mean, one, I have never been able to match the texting speed that you and Vogel have. I need to exercise my fingers more, apparently. And also, I don't trust talk. I've had too many mishaps with talk to text. To throw something incorrect out there, because I know how judgy I am when those of our friends who do use talk to text, I'm like, just type, you lazy mother effer. But no, I mean, you guys definitely have. You guys both have those grander theories.
Oh yeah.
Where I try to deal with the things that are actually on the table, and I keep it a little more grounded. And this also speaks to mine and Vogel's writing partnership, which, he sees these giant big pictures where I think about individual sequences like, based off what you're saying, so-and-so is going to turn into here. That means they could do this when they're having a fight with so-and-so. I mean, it's why I think the 3 of us seem to work really well together in this format.
Yeah. I agree. We do. And I think that's a great thing overall, to be honest with you. And I knew when we started the show, I had a feeling this could work. If we kept at it, this could be something if the situations presented themselves for us to talk about it. And what's great is that all of us kind of brings our own personality, and we bring our own ideas about the topics that we discuss. And have our own feelings about it, and we battle, and then we take a break, and then we get into our big thing, and then the end of the show. And it's fun in that way, for sure. What's been can I ask, if I may, what's been the most surprising thing about this? The fact that we're still doing it, or like, what have you enjoyed about it, or what's been the most surprising thing about being a part of the Geek Buddies?
I mean, not so much that we're still doing it. I mean, okay. I think it would have taken something monumental for us not to. I mean, maybe if you had moved prior to COVID, and the idea of linking up and doing it on camera, that's certainly that certainly never would have crossed my mind. Again, this is not this is your world. I mean, this is not where I operate normally. No, I think it's kind of the dynamic of our friendship is I am perfectly content being a spectator. Like I love to just sit back and watch a good debate. And if I have something to throw in, I'll throw it in.
Right.
But I know after our first few episodes, you got some critical feedback from some of your cohorts.
Yes.
And they're like, Shannon has to talk more.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, like I've got stuff, but a lot of times, my job is talking, especially when I'm working at Universal, like I talk all day. If I'm auditioning, I'm talking all day. So I'm happy to sit back and just watch this. But it seemed like it was this great show between two very opinionated guys and the audience participant who's really just listening. So from that angle, and even my girlfriend was like, you should really talk more. And even our friend Scott Shaw, like we would be talking. He and I had gotten drinks one day and we were chatting about something. He's like, how come you don't talk like this on Geek Buddies? And it's like, I don't know, man. So yeah, I mean, but I did start, I did try to take a more active approach to participation.
Well, everything is like a progression, right? And every one of these shows that I've started or that I've proposed, and I've brought in people who didn't have any experience doing it. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, like Steve had no experience at all when he pitched me the Cinephiles. I had been doing podcasts for a bit, and I walked him through the process, and now Steve is comfortable doing it, and then with you and Mike, Mike is a natural talker, and you are great when we get into conversations. We've had some great conversations, and you've got incredible points of views. And so I just was like, well, we'll figure it out. Like we'll figure it out. And in the first few episodes, it took a little bit for us to find the rhythm, and then eventually, and some constructive criticism, as you said. But like, it's important because Michael also gets criticized by people who he says he talks too much. Like my mom always says, Mikey talks too much, and I go, I know. It's just that Michael's got to get all the points out at once. So you just got to let him get all his points out, and then you can take them one by one. And I think he'll eventually learn where the shots are to throw in. Because I was the same way when I first started. Christian Harloff had to say that to me when I was on Jedi Council, when I was on Movie Talk. He'd be like, you don't have to go on for 8 minutes. You can just do like 2 to 3 minutes and then circle around to make a next point and circle around like when it goes around the table. And so I had to learn because for me, and I'm not saying this is for Michael, but for me, it was like, I want people to know that I'm smart about this. So I would go and like talk about it all because they didn't know me. And so I had to do it. So that was my approach. And then eventually I slowed it down a little bit. It's not that I don't still have my moments, but certainly at the time being aware.
And the thing is like when you go off on a point, I might not agree with it, but it's incredibly entertaining. I mean, and I don't know how many of your fans know this, but the wrestling show that you and our friend Andre did.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know anything about wrestling. Like I watched it in the 80s, like SummerSlam 88 with Coco Beware and the British Bulldogs, but I did not, I didn't keep up with it, but I could sit there and listen to you and Andre talk because you guys were opinionated and you were entertaining. And so again, while I might not agree with everything that you say, you are very entertaining in your points. With Vogel, Vogel got a high batting average. I mean, he's right about a lot of stuff. I mean, I'll never say this to him, when he's the third box on the screen. Mike's a smart guy. Like,
he is very much a smart guy. Yeah.
He's a very intelligent dude. I mean, our last WandaVision review, I threw out a point, and there was a moment where he was replying that it clicked like, crap, I forgot about that. Yep, he's right. Yeah. I mean, I can't double back right now and say he's right. I can't turn over and show my belly. I have to plant my feet on this quicksand. But because Mike can go on, but everything he's throwing out is pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what's essential. I think all four of us on the show are smart and how we approach it from our own analytical and intelligent points of view. Certainly, Emma has been an essential part of our review. She's been fantastic to bring not only the female point of view on it, but the conscientious point of view on it, right? And so she's more than willing to like hear a point of view and kind of adjust her own perception of it. And not a lot of people like to do that. And so I've been so like blown away by how great Emma's been on the show. Not that Emma's certainly an established person, but I didn't know how she was going to fit in with all of us. And it's been seamless as hell, and it's been fantastic to see.
Yeah, and I would say the same with Laura.
Yeah, Laura Kelly, yes.
With the Mandalorian reviews. Yeah. I mean, the majority of those, like I wasn't there, but that last but I enjoyed her point of view because it's a point of view that I don't have. Yeah. Just listening. I mean, she's a bit younger and she's a woman. And there were things that she picked up on that flew right over my head. And I mean, as when I think I'm right, but when someone can show me a shade of something that I wasn't aware of before, I try to be always very very grateful for that. Yeah. I think it's essential. That's why I brought Laura Kelly on to The Mandalorian. That's why I pitched Emma 5 to you guys to bring her on to WandaVision. As these are people that I've worked with or that I know, and I just feel like they'd work with us. So we'll see what we get for Falcon and Winter Soldier, because certainly there's been some people who've suggested a certain somebody, but then there's another point of view here where we're going to be exploring Falcon's story. We're going to be exploring his point of view on what it's like to be a black man taking on the shield of Captain America. So we might be looking at a person of color, bringing in a person of color to be a part of our reviews instead of the other people. So we'll see. It's all up in the air right now, but we're kicking around a bunch of ideas, and I love the fact that people are starting to see our reviews as a place to come to really get a lot of in-depth knowledge and points of views, and multiple points of views, and take something out of it. And we're not getting 80,000 views or anything like that, like some other people, like Dan or other people, my friend Dan Murrow and other people get, but I think we're doing well for where the channel is in terms of subscriber base. So I'm very proud of that for sure. So yeah, totally. And I mean, again, we're so foreign to this world. Occasionally, Johnny will send us a text saying, "Oh, we hit this." Yes. And there's always that moment of like, okay, that's good. Right? Yeah. Just because again, this isn't our sandbox, but seeing your enthusiasm for it is the best part of it.
Yeah. He's got to look at the balance of it all. Okay, so let me see if I've got any more. So, okay, Soulshire 1999 says, Shannon, John Connor McClung. Any Universal Studio stories? What were your favorite attractions and things? Damn, I love that place. Been to Orlando in March of 2004 and 2014. T2 was definitely one of my favorites, along with Back to the Future, Spidey 4D, and the Harry Potter world, which is unbelievable. Yeah, so Shannon, any Universal Studios stories that you want to throw in here? Maybe a teaser, and then maybe we'll put some behind a quote-unquote paywall as we go along tonight. Yeah.
Okay, so this is sort of my introduction to the entertainment department. So I started working at Universal when I was 16. So my high school, I went to a performing arts high school, which was literally right across the street from Universal. Mm-hmm. So, and I will try to truncate this as best I can. So I lived about 17 miles away from my high school. My parents made a deal with me. We will give you my dad's sort of hand-me-down truck. We'll pay for your gas. We'll pay for your insurance, as long as you do not get any speeding tickets or you don't get into an accident. This lasted 3 months. I had gone home and I was driving back to school to go to Fellowship of Christian Athletes of all places.
Hello.
And out trying to do the Lord's work. And it was a tropical storm. So I had to unexpectedly hit my brakes very suddenly, and I hydroplaned into the car in front of me, which hit the car in front of them.
Wow.
Yeah, the truck was very messed up. It was totaled technically, but then my dad was able to work his McClung magic. So at that point, Mom and Dad are like, okay, got to get a job. So Universal Studios had a job fair. And so I was able to get hired, and because I was a drama kid, I was able to spiel at the earthquake attraction. So when Terminator came about, you can't really tell right now, but I actually have very, very thick hair. Like if it grows out, it gets very white man fro. And so to play John Connor, Edward Furlong has that very kind of, that stick straight hair that kind of falls down in front of your face. So I got hired. And it was sort of like, what are we going to do? And one of the Sarah Connors suggested I get my hair relaxed. So, I'm 18 years old.
What does that mean?
Putting a relaxer in it. It is a chemical that makes your hair fall down, essentially.
Right.
And my hair, it was... It's like putting very, very harsh chemicals into your hair. So, as the beautician is putting these chemicals in, I can feel kind of a tingling. And she says, "Does it burn?" And I said, "Well, yeah, a little bit up front." Some of the chemicals had leaked down. She took her thumb and moved it, and the top layer of skin went with it.
Oh!
So I had a chemical burn. All right here. And so I have this hair that's in front of my face, the chemical burn. And as John Connor, you had to wear a headband.
Right.
So at the end of my shifts, I would take the headband off. And again, I would peel this layer of skin off. And so for about a year.
What?
And what the relaxing does, it makes your hair really dry too. I mean, when it grows out at like a 90-degree angle. So I had a girlfriend who stuck with me for a year through this awful hair, and then about a year later I was able to get we got wigs, and I was able to cut my hair.
Oh my God, that's horrible, dude.
Yeah. And it's the type of thing that, again, I was 18 or 19.
Yeah, right. You deal with it.
Had I brought this to the salon's attention, that's a possible lawsuit, right?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Could have pocketed some money. Oh my God.
But because I was a dumb kid, I was like, I don't know what to do. And I was so embarrassed by it. One of the Sarah Connors who I had a little bit of a crush on kept calling me Toast, because that's what my head looked like.
Jesus Christ in heaven. I never heard that story. Well, that's insane. Wow. All right, let's see. Sam, there you go. Sam Candelaria Jr. says, do you guys think that Disney Plus shows are one-season shows? I feel WandaVision is a one-season show, but Ms. Marvel may have more than one season. Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, Shannon, what do you think? Do you think it's a one-season show?
I think WandaVision definitely is. I think the way that Marvel is approaching these Disney Plus series is it's not like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They're not necessarily aiming for another season. They're looking at the enormous story that is the Marvel Cinematic Universe overall. And if there is a reason to do a Disney Plus series of a character or a further season, like I think we've both heard that Loki will have a season 2.
Yes.
We don't know why yet. We don't really know what the story of Loki is going to be, other than him with the time variance authority. Right. But like Miss Marvel, like it's already been said that she's going to be in Captain Marvel too. So if there is a reason for her to have another season of her Disney Plus show, I'm sure she will.
Yeah, I think so too. I think WandaVision is one season. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier is one season. I do think Miss Marvel can be longer because nobody knows her as an actress, right? She's not that well known. So if she, you got to give her time for people to get to know her. Doesn't mean she can't vacillate between the two. Certainly that's possible overall. But Moon Knight's going to be interesting because you cast someone like Oscar Isaac. Is Oscar Isaac only going to want to do 1 year or one season? Sorry. Oh, well, one season. Sorry about that. Or is he going to, I got to stop drinking. One season or 1 year, or does he want to do more? And that's going to be the question for Oscar Isaac, because he's already an established actor. Does he have the time to keep doing a number of seasons of Moon Knight? That's my question for sure.
That's another thing to consider is how long these limited series or not, excuse me, the Disney Plus series take to film. I mean, Falcon and Winter Soldier, like as you said, that's a 6-hour movie essentially.
Yes.
That's probably that's going to be a longer shooting schedule than a 2-hour film.
Yeah.
with Oscar Isaac, yeah, it'll be interesting. And it's also how they want to plug the characters in.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Miss Marvel, as you said, I mean, she's going to be in Captain Marvel 2. In what capacity, we don't know. If they want her to become one of those kind of street level heroes where she's kind of cutting her teeth more, a second season would really make sense.
Yeah, it's a fair point. All right, Matt Lewis says, hi from Cardiff. Hiya. That's Wales there. Loving the WandaVision coverage on the Geek Buddies. I look forward to the reviews as much as the WandaVision show itself. Take care, guys. All right. Thanks, Matt. That's very sweet.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, we enjoy doing them. Glad you're watching them over there in Cardiff. I stayed in Cardiff for 2 days. I absolutely love that city. I remember my girlfriend and I walking around the second morning. We were there before we left to head to Liverpool, and she's like, I could live here. I could live in Cardiff. So I don't know how much longer we're going to stay in the country. I'll be honest with you. We'll see.
Is Cardiff anything like the town from Ted Lasso?
Oh, no, I wish. God, I love the town from Ted Lasso. And that's a real town. They actually shot that in a real town. That is not just sets. That's a real town. And so, yeah, I would love it if it was something like that. But it does have it has a very small town feel to it. Like we came in on the train from London to Cardiff. And we wanted to see a bunch of the Gavin and Stacey places because my girlfriend is a massive fan of that show. So we drove all around that area. We found the Gavin and Stacey house. We took pictures in front of it. For those who don't know, it's a British sitcom that's very famous in the UK. And we went to all the different places. We went to Barry Island. We went to all these great places. And my girlfriend was the happiest person. And it was a good day. The weather was great. There wasn't a lot of people around. And this was before they came back with a Christmas special. So it had been a few years. So she was able to buy like Gavin and Stacey stuff without being in line or without having to wait for anything. So it was totally a great experience. And the next day we just kind of walked around, went to the Cardiff Castle. So that's so crazy. Shannon, you arrive on the train, you walk by the massive football stadium, which is where they have their soccer team or football team. And we walk to the hotel, and as we're walking, we pass the castle on the right-hand side, and then we get to the hotel. It's kind of mind-blowing how walkable the entire city is. And one of the great things they had at the castle was they had a rubber Trump ducky. And and they were trying to sell them, and no one was buying them. And they were trying. It was hilarious to me. So it's just the weirdness how our country stretches as far into Wales as it did. Like have rubber Trump duckies. I was like, sure, why? That seems interesting for sure.
That just made me think of something. Yeah. So I worked in Universal Studios Japan for 2 years. Yeah. And one of the roles that I got to play for Christmas was I got to be Santa, which again, I'm about 5'6" and 160 pounds, so I'm not, and I'm bigger than I was back then. So, but there was a night I was getting ready. It was for a big water parade out on a lake. I was reading Clive Cussler's Sahara.
Oh yeah, good book.
And on the front is a picture of Lincoln, because Lincoln is very involved in that story. So one of the Japanese stage assistants came over and was giving me like, hey, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. And then he saw the front of the book, and he spoke enough English to where we could communicate, and I spoke enough Japanese that we could have a semi-normal conversation. And he looked at the front of the book, and he went, Lincoln. And I was like, oh my gosh, like how do you that's amazing. Like I think the Japanese are probably better educated.
Oh, I mean, you could argue that. I mean, how many of us would know the leaders of Japan past like maybe Hirohito World War II?
Yep, that was exactly my thought.
Really know? Yeah,
that was exactly my thought. I'm like, I mean, and granted, Lincoln is an incredibly famous person. Yes, but the fact that a U.S. president from 150 some odd years ago, I'm like, God, that is impressive.
Yeah, agreed. Sean Barreto, thank you. Sean is our producer on the show. He says, loving the show so far. Thoughts on the Falcon and Winter Soldier trailer we got in the Super Bowl? Yeah, Shannon, we're going to talk about it tomorrow on the Geek Buddies for sure. Do another trailer park, I'm sure. But did you enjoy this trailer? We got a bit more. Certainly got Emily Van Camp kicking some ass there. A little banter between Falcon and Bucky. Did you enjoy the trailer?
So much. So when the Disney Plus series were announced, and this is probably a lot of stuff that I'll say tomorrow as well. When they were first announced, Falcon and Winter Soldier was the series that I was the most excited for, because I'm just in terms of the MCU, I'm a huge Captain America guy. Yeah. Like I was so excited to see where this story was going to go. And the first little bit of footage that they showed of like Anthony Mackie was throwing the shield, it was sort of like, okay, well, this is like a 30-second teaser for all the shows that are coming down the pipe, so they're not going to show us a lot. Right. The next trailer, I was not that into it. And a lot of it had to do with the interplay between Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Shaw, or Sebastian Stan, excuse me. Yeah. Sebastian Stan. At the end, when it felt like forced camaraderie. Right. When he's like, what's going on in that cybernetic brain of yours? And I was like, I don't like this scene. This seems very forced. It just doesn't seem right. And not that they have had a ton of on-screen time together, but some of the funniest moments from Civil War was these two guys, these two besties of Steve Rogers. So in this trailer, you really get the sense that these guys could become the Riggs and Murtaugh of the MCU.
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah.
It seems like they're with a therapist. Anthony Mackie had one of the best lines as he's flying next to Bucky, who's been knocked off the truck. Like, oh, that girl kicked your ass. Like, that was such a great moment. So this trailer has made me a lot more excited for the show.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I was already in. So this just gave me so much more. Now, no more trailers. No more trailers. It's coming out in like a few weeks. Cut it out. I don't want to see any more. We got the hint of Baron Zemo. We got the hint of what might be coming. 2 new characters. Well, not 2 new characters, but 1 returning character and 1 new character was thrown in here. Both women. It's good to see they're going to be kicking some ass throughout this thing. So I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to see any more. Slow it down on the TV stuff. Let's see. Thank you, Sean, for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, guys, remember, if you get to $100 mark, Shannon will tell you the story about how we became friends, the fun little story, how we became friends. If we get to the $200 mark, he's going to tell you one of the greatest Comic-Con stories you're ever going to hear, where me and him got into a bit of a row about him leaving me behind in the middle of the night on Comic-Con.
Already, okay. Already, we're taking liberties with what actually happened.
I'm just saying, I was left alone in the middle of the street, drunk, and no one was around. I could have been killed.
And if you get to the $100 mark, I'll throw a pretty good Universal story in there.
There we go. Sounds good. All right, Chris Taylor donated. He said, "I know it's set to be a movie, but would Fantastic Four work better as a Disney Plus show?" Oh, Chris, I hadn't even thought about that. I actually kind of like that idea. What do you think, Shannon?
I think it depends on how they introduce the characters. Like this aeronautical engineer that Monica Rambeau mentioned in the last episode of WandaVision. If that turns out to be Sue Storm, or if it turns out to be Reed Richards, that would be cool. I mean, already the fact that Secret War is it Secret Invasion or Secret War?
Secret Invasion.
The fact that Secret Invasion, they're doing that as a Disney Plus series. Yeah. It's like, God, that could have been a multiple film spanning story, but this is the avenue they're choosing to go with it. That really, I mean, already you can tell from the quality of WandaVision, like they're going all in on these series. Yeah. So to take a marquee character like that, or a marquee team like that, and introduce them in a Disney Plus series, shoot, why not?
Yeah. I think it's certainly possible. And it's a way to kind of remove the stigma of them, Shannon, of the idea of, here comes another feature film version of Fantastic Four. Well, why don't we go this route, where we go the TV show route? Then we can spend more time on their origins, spend more time on their chemistry, build up the Reed Richards, Sue Richards romance, get Johnny, get Ben Grimm and his feelings about it all, and we spend more time with them. Then from there, you can launch them into a feature film franchise. It's never been done that way, so why not do it that way and see what you can do and cast appropriately, where you cast actors who you think can work on TV and film, and so I'd be down with that.
And I mean, and not that the Tim Story movies are great examples of good filmmaking, right?
No offense to Tim Story. Yeah.
No offense. But one of the things that when I was watching that original Fantastic Four, when it came out in like 2005, was the fact that they're talking with Doom one moment and the next moment they're in space. I'm like, how did we not get a launch sequence?
Yeah.
Like you need to see them going into space. I mean, yes, they are superheroes, but also they're explorers.
Right.
Like we want the Armageddon launch sequence version of Fantastic Four. 100%.
I agree with you 1,000%, man. Justin Toner says, "Hi guys, John finally got to the Wild Bunch and Once Upon a Time in the West on Blu-ray. Does Shannon like westerns, and if so, what are some of his favorites?" Yeah, Shannon, we do occasionally. We saw Slow West together. I think we will occasionally see a western. Do you like westerns? I don't know if we've gotten down in the muck and talked about it. What's your feeling about that genre?
Not on the level that you guys do. Like I am not great with movies pre-70s. I know. I mean, this is a part of my character, and part of it has to do with the acting. That the evolution of film acting, it was still developing. Like you could get some very presentational moments, which for me are they're difficult to watch. That being said, True Grit, the Coen Brothers remake, is probably my favorite Western, and I know that John is probably ready to spit venom at this.
No, not at that. I love that remake. No, I mean, I veer towards Unforgiven or The Searchers. Those are usually the battle for me. That's my 1-2 battle all the time, depending on what mood I'm in, because the Unforgiven is about something completely different than The Searchers is about, kind of, because both of them are about the end of the West. Yeah. Right? I mean, Clint Eastwood representing something, an icon, a legend, a tall tale of the West, and showing you the reality of it, the brutal, scary reality of it, and what the papers sometimes created out of those legends. And The Searchers is showing you the end of the Old West as civilization in America moves on from what that guy represented, and people say, well, I can't watch it because he's kind of a racist. That's the point. That's what some of these people were, to be able to succeed or survive as they did. But society has to turn their back on those people to move forward. And that's what the door shut being on John Wayne means, So in a way, they are kind of similar in the end of things, in certain things, but like overall, two completely different movies, in my opinion. And certainly, dude, I watched Magnificent Seven again the other day. Man, that movie is that is Western populist crack for me. I will absolutely get suckered into that movie every single time.
Starring Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt, right?
Not that shitty ass. No offense to Antoine Fuqua. No offense. But that was a shitty, and I actually was, as I was watching the movie, I was like, you can't even do a remake of this because Fuqua did the remake and it sucked. So you got to wait like 10 years or 15 years before you can even consider doing another remake of Magnificent Seven. It is ripe for a remake if you find the right director and the right actors, which arguably they kind of did, but it wasn't the right director, in my opinion.
The cast was amazing. I
mean, the cast was stellar.
That was the type of trailer that you watch. You're like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be amazing. Yeah. And the final product, and it didn't take long. I mean, I want to say, didn't the opening scene start in a church with Peter Sarsgaard?
Yeah.
It like right off the bat. It's scary how when you have seen as many movies as we have, that it can start right away and be like, oh, something's wrong. Something's off. Yeah. I mean, that's how I felt about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. The moment that the Paramount Mountain turned into a prairie dog little mound, and the mound disappeared and the prairie dog was CGI. I was like, oh no. Oh no, this is a real bad way to start this 2-hour and 15-minute movie.
No. Oh no.
Now, like I love Deadwood, but that's not really a traditional Western. That's kind of Shakespeare in the West.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Did you see, or Mammoth in the West? Did you see Godless?
Yeah,
that was good.
I enjoyed Godless.
Yeah.
I hated so grumpy old man. I hated the opening credits. It was way too up tempo, way too upbeat for me. I'm like, nah, I want the Deadwood opening. But Jeff Daniels, he was spectacular in that show. Like he's such a great actor to watch, not only as an audience member, but as a performer to study. The fact that this guy, the roles that he plays, he can just run the gamut. I mean, he's just incredible. Have you watched? Now, I don't know if we've talked about this. Have you watched Warrior on HBO Max?
No, not yet. I got a few people telling me to watch it.
It is, John. It is.
Yeah.
Dynamite.
Okay. All right.
I am in, like, it's only 2 seasons and they're 10 episode seasons. I'm into the beginning of season 2, and it takes place in San Francisco, so it's not a Western per se, but they do have one episode that is very Western, and it's
cool.
It's like, again, in the last 5-10 years, it's one of the best hours of TV that's been made in quite a while.
Wow. All right, I got to jump on it. Yeah, we were flipping channels last night. She's not going to watch. Linda's not going to watch something like Warrior. That's not going to happen in our house. But, and no, it's not a cup of tea. But we did start a show on HBO Max last night, a Dutch show called An Investigation, and it's based.
I've seen the trailer for it. Yeah.
Yes, it is excellent, Shannon. It's of course it's all subtitled because it's in Dutch. And it's the guy who plays the guy from Game of Thrones is the uncle of Reek and Yara, the guy who comes over to try to take over Ireland. Yeah, he's in it as a lawyer, but it centers around this investigator, this kind of older Dutch actor investigator, and he is trying to find out what happened on this submarine. It's based on a 2017 real crime that happened where this young reporter went onto a man-made submarine. Like, this guy built his own submarine, and the guy sunk the submarine and threw her overboard somewhere. And so they're trying to find out what happened, and they're investigating this. And Shmi Skywalker plays the mom of the girl who was killed.
Wow.
And so it's fucking great. And if you can get past, and a lot of you who are watching might have issues reading subtitles, if you can get past reading subtitles, it's a goddamn excellent show. Show for sure.
Okay.
So I can't recommend it highly enough. Let's see
HBO Max, you said.
Yeah, right? It's on HBO Max. Absolutely, yeah. And it sucks because it's one episode a week, and I'm like, you know me, Shannon. I'll go rummaging in those illegal sites to find episodes because I'm not waiting if I want to watch something.
Theoretically,
I can't find it. Yeah, theoretically illegal. Theoretically, figuratively. Mike Buxo says, "I was watching Blackish and I saw Shannon on the episode. I got so happy when I saw you on it." Shannon. How long ago was that?
That was I think we shot it in 2014.
Wow.
But it aired in 2015 because it was the Valentine's Day episode. It was their first season. I actually was on a friend who teaches acting, who's doing Zoom acting classes right now. He had me come on for his students' final class, and he showed him my reel, and we did a little Q&A. And it's funny because Blackish comes up a lot whenever I'm talking about the differences and how different shows kind of approach the creative process. So you remember my Workaholics episode, right?
Yes,
where I played the trivia host. Yeah. So when I did that, it's literally just playing a trivia host who's doing 80s trivia. And as I read the scripts or the sides, the audition sides, I was like, wow, this is just kind of pat host dialogue. And I was like, well, I'm going to, every once in a while, you feel empowered to take a big swing in an audition. And I did. Like, I didn't rewrite it, but I added, every time I would ask a question, I would add an 80s quote. Anytime I said something was correct, I added an 80s quote. And that is what got me the job.
Wow. Smart.
At the table read, the showrunner was just kind of like, hey, man, we loved everything that you did. For the table read, just do the script. But tomorrow, we're going to let you have as much fun as you like. I'm like, wow, fantastic. So, the Workaholics guys, the 3 of them, they were also the writers.
Yeah.
So, Anders, who was the tall guy, he came up to me on the day we were shooting, who he had written the episode. And he has this very nice guy, but he has this sort of like perma-smug face. But again, I cannot overstate. Like, he was a really, really nice. And he went, hey, man, just do whatever you want. And I was like, great. So, I mean, it was one of the best days on set for me because like I was just throwing things out left and right. The next week is when I did Blackish. Yeah. And as we were shooting, so Workaholics is a Comedy Central show, does not have the budget nor get the ratings of a major ABC sitcom. Right. So as we were shooting Blackish, I had a moment with Bo where, like, I don't remember the exact moment. But she has a line and then I leave. Yeah. The way that the line finished, I'm like, this feels so unnatural. Like, I need to respond to her. Yeah. And I think I just said, yes, ma'am. And then she threw in a thank you because she and Dre are in the middle of a fight. Right. So we did that 4 or 5 times. And then the director came up. And I don't know how many of your listeners or audience members know this, but TV is the writer's realm. Yes. They're kind of the bosses. And especially when the writer is also a producer. And so the directors who are kind of hired guns, the director came up to me and was like, hey, you're doing great. The writer doesn't want you to say yes, ma'am. And I was like, okay, I'll just walk off. So when you've been given a note, you take the note. Like that's your job. But that sort of demonstrates the 2 ways of approaching this is Workaholics, do whatever you want. Blackish, don't say yes, ma'am. And then when Blackish aired, do you know what take they used?
The one who said yes, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
There you go. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you know better than the person who's writing the show at certain moments. Because writers are writers, actors are actors. It's 2 different things. Whatever you see on the page when you're writing it down on your page, you know this, Shannon, as you're transitioning now into being an animation writer, you've written a few episodes. You know there's a difference between acting the shit and writing the shit. 2 different things.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When the animated series that Bogle and I worked on together, where you got to be in several episodes, I was a character for one of them for my episode. Right. And the voice director was giving me notes, which I mean I'm new to voiceover, so that's fine. But she was like, no, Shannon, the character is saying this, and I'm like, well, I wrote it. I kind of know what the character is saying. Oh, I didn't say that. Like,
right. You were thinking that. Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking that fully. Yeah. And then afterwards, the head writer, our friend Eric Rogers, I was kind of like, was I okay? Because I feel like she really didn't. Like, you were great. You were great. Don't worry about all the notes.
Yeah. It's one of the things people don't understand. Like, voiceover is great, and everyone thinks they can do it, but not everyone can. And then when you're in the room, you got to be able to take direction on the fly and then even come up with some stuff on your own. I mean, people don't know that John DiMaggio said this when I interviewed him years ago on Cast of Characters with Yuri Lowenthal. Mm-hmm. John said, like, sometimes I don't know what the character looks like until I show up on the day of the record. Wow. And I'll be in there and they'll show me, I'll have a picture of the character on the music, stand, and then the dialogue. So I'll have a few minutes to look at the character and decide for myself what that voice is going to be, and then boom, do the story of the character within the episode. And it's just like, wow, it's incredible. These guys just have a natural ability to do it, and you got to give them so much love. I mean, I was playing the Spider-Man game a few days ago. I got the one that came out last year or 2 years ago that Yuri was the voice of. And man, it's incredible to watch Yuri or listen to Yuri's work throughout the game, because I mean, that's just my brother. Like I didn't know Yuri and his voiceover stuff before I met him. It was only until after we started doing the show that I explored like all the different things he'd done, and I was just blown away by his talent. And he's one of the nicest guys, one of the sweetest dudes. And so when I was watching him on Spider-Man, it's incredible how effortless he is in his dialogue delivery. And I know he was super stressed to get this right. You know, and so it's just like, it's incredible to see the work. Voiceover is just a marvel to watch the great ones work.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it is its own beast. I mean, again, watching the performers who came in for the show that shall not be named, the difference between, we had a couple of movie star level people,
Oh yeah.
And there was definitely an insistence of like, well, I don't want to look at the script when I'm performing. It's just like, look, that's why it's there.
Yeah.
And then you would have the pro VO people come in and just would nail it on the first take. I mean, just so remarkable to watch.
Yeah, it's true. It's such a lesson. Vincent Zawada says, you like On the Waterfront, Shannon? The acting in that movie is off the charts and still holds up. Yeah, Shannon, I could give Shannon 50 movies where the acting is stellar in the black and white era, and I'll give you 50 movies in the color era where the acting is shit and demonstrative as well. We know a few people who've survived and are still acting in movies or TV shows and are still demonstrative and terrible.
I mean, I can name the people in the color movies as well.
Yeah,
thank you.
I'm just saying.
The thing with On the Waterfront was I had to watch it as part of a film class when I was a sophomore. And because I was being forced to watch it, I kind of had bad taste in my mouth. I have not revisited it since then. And like, I know that, Marlon Brando's fantastic, and will it be something that I go back to at some point? Maybe. Let's see how long COVID goes.
I would happily walk you through it. That's the things that I'm thinking about changing or adding to the Outlaw Nation channel is like a Western Wednesdays, where I just talk about one Western and show some pictures. I can't show scenes because obviously they'll block it. And another thing is to maybe do a classic Sunday. So a show on Sunday where I tackle a classic film, black and white film, and just, talk about the history. And maybe, just maybe, if Alicia Malone is not doing too many things, I can talk her into being a co-host on the show with me, because I love revisiting classic movies and she is so stellar. It would be fun to do a show with her. Yeah.
So apparently my girlfriend is watching this right now because a text came up on. She texted me and it came up on the computer screen and said, "We can watch it this weekend!" Exclamation point.
You tell her, girl that shall not be named. You tell her. You get him to watch it. It's funny you say that. I got a comment here myself. It just came in here. I don't know did I lose it? I must have lost the comment. It was a really sweet comment from somebody who's watching us right now. It says, "Sir Outlaw, I ain't going to lie to you. Barry and Cardiff are cracking. I'm not being funny. You and Shannon are lush." That's a reference to Gavin and Stacey. And so Sharon says, "Cracking." That's right, cracking. Great stuff for sure. All right, let's see here. We're gonna put the link in the chat. I think Sean's gonna put the link in the Discord for my Outlaw Nation patrons at the $10 and above level to come in live and ask questions. Let me bring my producer in. Sean will talk to you guys about it. For those of you who are not Outlaw Nation patrons, why aren't you, first of all? And second of all, Sean will tell you how you can come and ask questions live of me and Shannon. What's up, dude?
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Shannon, how are you doing tonight? Is John treating you well?
Fantastic. We actually got to meet right before this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. John, be nice to Shannon. He's nice.
Let's get to the program here, son. Come on.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you.
You know what?
You're welcome. He's always yelling at me. I don't know why. I didn't do anything. Anyways,
you're an impertinent child. Go ahead. Yes.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Anyways, so welcome, Outlaw Nation fans, and welcome to the show. So if you guys haven't already, please hit a like. We're trying to get to at least as many likes as we possibly can throughout the show. And if you're watching us post, which a lot of people do, we appreciate it. Also hit the like and also hit place a comment below. John reads the comments. He will respond to them as long as they're respectable. It also raises the visibility of the shows, which we like. So I will put the link in the Discord for any patron who's $10 and above. You can come in live and ask John and Shannon a question. If you're not a $10 patron or part of the Patreon at all, why not? We have a good time. John hangs out with us. We laugh, we kid, we have fun.
Yes.
I will also put the link in the live chat a little bit later on the show. So if you're not a patron, you can come on and ask some questions. So when you click on the link, it will bring you to StreamYards, where it will ask you to verify your headphones and your microphone. Please at least try to wear headphones, because otherwise we get an echo and it's a little hard to understand what you're saying sometimes.
Yeah.
and then we'll bring you backstage where John will be able to see you, and he can bring you in at any time. So at least try to have one question ready so we can get through as many people as we possibly can.
That's the greatest. See, Sean, you're fantastic. When you focus and deliver what you need to deliver, you're pretty incredible. So
when am I not focused?
Thank you so much.
John, I like it when you go off the cuff, personally.
I know.
Well, I'll go off the cuff now. Can I ask Shannon a question?
Okay, sure. Yes. Go ahead, my man.
So since you guys were talking about WandaVision, which I'm enjoying, by the way, I agree with Shannon. It's like Thursday at midnight is like must see, wake up, stay awake time for me also.
Appointment viewing, yeah.
Yeah, totally. But the conversation always comes back to streaming versus, like dumping it all at once or releasing it weekly. So Netflix always, just dumps a show out at once on Fridays or Thursday at midnight, and now Disney Plus is taking this weekly approach. So I personally on the side of weekly only because like a good example is Cobra Kai. I love Cobra Kai, but the fact that I pretty much binged it at midnight New Year's Eve, and then like that's it, it's over. Like the conversation will last for a couple of days, maybe, and then you're moving on to the next thing with WandaVision and all the Marvel shows with Mandalorian and Falcon and Winter Soldier coming up after that. We're gonna get it weekly, so the conversation lasts all these times. Like we have 4 more weeks of WandaVision plus a week gap in between, and then we get the Falcon and Winter Soldier. So there's like 5 weeks more we could get to talk about WandaVision where it's still relevant in pop culture. So I think Disney has the right idea, but I know you've probably worked on shows where they have probably dumped all at once, or probably working on shows that were done weekly. So what do you think is the better approach?
Well, I think it depends on the perspective. From a business standpoint, I think what Disney is doing is absolutely the right call. I feel like when they started with Disney Plus, when the site launched, Mandalorian was already on there. I think if they had all their episodes on, people would have signed up for their free preview, watched the entire series, and they would have booked. And also because they didn't have, they have a huge catalog. They do not have a Netflix huge catalog. Right. Netflix can afford to drop an entire series all at once. There are some shows that I love watching back to back to back. Honestly, if they had done that with WandaVision, I would have watched the whole thing once. I probably would be going back again and again and again watching it. But it seems like the awesome thing about streaming was that we got everything all at once, but I feel like the streaming networks are starting to see that might not be the best business model. Right. And you look at The Boys season 2. They gave us the first 3 episodes, and then 3 or 4, and then after that they went week to week to week because they did want to continue that conversation. Right. Glow, I think, is one of the best series that Netflix has put out, but within a week, it's done. And the way that their release schedule works is they shoot everything all at once, and then they put it on a year later. Yep. So especially for awards contention, not that that's what Disney Plus is doing, but for awards contention, you want the name of your show on the mouths of the voters for as long as it can be there. Yeah. And you're not going to get that with a show that necessarily will be here and gone in a week. Glow was able to do it. House of Cards was able to do it for a season or for a few seasons, but most shows that's not the case. Yeah.
True. Good point. I agree with everything Shannon said. Makes absolute sense to me.
It was more or less to Shannon.
See? You see? You give him a little inch. He takes some out. One of those.
What? But he's coming from a place of experience, so that's kind of why I asked the question. I
book shows too. I don't brag about it. I book shows.
I'm just saying. He has experience. That's why I figured. Well, yeah.
All right. Good
talk. What are we talking about?
Thanks for coming in. Put that link in the chat. Do your job. Love you. I love Sean. He's great. He's the best. He takes a lot of ball busting. He gives it back. Trust me. He gives it back. We got 100. We had almost 200 y'all watching us live. So please hit that like button as well. Where are we at likewise? Let me take a look real quick, Shannon, before we move. We're at 145 likes. Hey, let's get to 200 likes, people. I know there's probably 55 of you who are watching us right now who have not hit that thumbs up button. Hit that thumbs up button. Give us some love. Also, if you want to send in a Streamlabs super chats, please feel free to do that now. We haven't hit the $100 mark yet. We'd love to get the $100 mark to at least tell the story about Shannon and I got together. We want to get to the $200 mark because trust me, you're going to hear a pretty insane Comic-Con story that you're going to at my expense, ladies and gentlemen, at my expense. So trust me, if we get to the $200 mark, I think you're going to love the story we tell there. Let's see here. The next question comes from Doug Developers. Says, hey guys, if you had the opportunity, would you rather write on a big project like Avengers Endgame, but obviously be spoiled, or would you pass on it be in the audience and be blown away with an unforgettable experience? Money is obviously a factor. Shannon.
Ooh. Oh boy. I mean, I don't know how you'd be able to turn down an opportunity like that.
Yeah.
And Endgame, that's a very specific example. Like I'm gonna, if I may, I'm gonna alter the question slightly. Not using Endgame as an example, but like say Pirates of the Caribbean. Like let's say the first Pirates of the Caribbean. When you're sort of in the creative process of putting this stuff together, you don't know what's going to hit.
Right.
And so I think initially the want for the job is always there. But yeah, man, that's hard because those magical moments that you have in movie theaters when you're with your friends, when you're in a packed house and it's just this community of everyone who is on this ride together for 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's a difficult experience to replicate. But being a part of the creating of that product, by the end, like I imagine, when filmmakers pop into the the back of the house on theaters and opening, I'm sure that's amazing. But you're so tired of it, by that point, because you have watched it from every single angle. Like it is so played out in your head. Yeah, God, man, I don't have an answer. I mean, at this point, I would say I would want to be part of the creation because I would like to take my career to the next level. Yeah, right. But I'll say when Return, like these are not John's favorite movies, but when Return of the King happened, when it finished, I was like, I don't know if we're gonna get an event like that again in our lifetime, because that was just such a big movie experience. And despite the fact that, yes, we did get the new Star Wars movies and we got some incredible moments, I would argue that we didn't get another one of those moments until Endgame.
Yeah, I would say that's absolutely correct. And they did it in 3 movies, and obviously Endgame, the MCU, over 23 movies to get to that moment. So it was pretty incredible. And I get it. Look, they might not be my favorite films, but I can't deny the impact they have on so many people when they watch them in terms of Lord of the Rings movies, for sure. It's incredible to be honest, to experience it. Sean, I hope Sean's put the link in the chat to let people know how they can come in live. I don't see it anywhere, so I don't know if he put in just the StreamYards link or if he put in the link for people to come in. I see the Streamlabs link. I don't see the link for people to come in live. If you want to come in live and ask questions of me and Shannon, feel free. Hopefully he'll put it in there, and I'll do something about it. So, all right, let's see. Have we got any else? Oh yeah, Julian Ramos says, Rocha, come on. Everyone knows that the best Western is A Million Ways to Die in the West. Yes, absolutely. It isn't, but okay. It's a guilty pleasure of mine for sure. Do you like that movie? Do you like the Seth MacFarlane Western or no?
Oh man, no.
Yeah, it's not really your jam.
They were so... And I think the biggest problem with that was Seth MacFarlane. Yeah. Because like he is he's an incredible performer. Right. But he's just way too aware of being in a movie. Like looking at that film, because I thought there were bigger issues than just his performance. Right. But I'm looking at his role and I'm like, that should have been Jesse Eisenberg. That should have been Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh, good point. Good point.
Like if you put a legit actor in that who has experience with comedy, I think you could have gotten the laughs that his performance did deservedly get. Yeah. But then you would have been maybe a little more connected to the story.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's talk about this other thing I put in the title of this, like idea of for you. You're on this DC animated movies kick. What's this all about? I mean, we were talking about it on Twitter. There was a little bit of a playfully heated exchange, I think. I don't know what happened there, but there was, it was a playfully heated exchange about the idea of it. And I didn't know that these movies were in order. And, the last time I heard about anything animated being in order was Clone Wars, where you had to go kind of out of order from the release of the actual episodes to watch it chronologically in order. Are you doing that with these DC animated movies? And what brought this on?
Well, I have to credit Mr. Vogel. During trying to fill some of the hours in the day, he had texted me. He's like, I actually spent the weekend watching those DC animated movies, and I had seen a couple of them. Like I'd seen Justice League War, I'd seen Throne of Atlantis, and I recognized that it was some of the same cast, but it didn't really click that
voice cast. Yeah.
Yes. Like Jason O'Mara's Batman, for instance.
Right.
I didn't realize that it was a big sort of shared universe, that it was kind of one big story. Mm-hmm. And Vogel was like, this is really the type of thing you and I should be aiming for. And so I was kind of like, oh, I'll actually start them from the beginning and watch them. And I didn't realize that Flashpoint Paradox was the start. I thought it was Justice League War. So thankfully, a couple of people on Twitter pointed that out, that no, actually watch Flashpoint Paradox. So one, we've got time to kill still.
Yeah.
I mean, I did my MCU rewatch almost a year ago now. And I was,
right.
And I was like, you know what? Let me make this. It's good to establish a schedule. So during the day, I will go for a walk, I will work out, I will do whatever writing I have to do. And then at night, that's sort of like, hey, this is now my appointment viewing outside of WandaVision. Like X amount of nights, I'm gonna watch a DC movie. And thus far, you see the budgetary restraints with some of them, in that some of the streets are not populated. The animation, it's not like going to see a Disney movie. But the animation works. And thus far, the story, I have ones that I like more than others, but thus far, they're all really, really solid. Yeah. And if you haven't done that yet, I know you're talking about doing it. Yeah. So we can do a little Geek Buddy special. But they did do their final one, as far as I know, that the Justice League Dark Apocalypse. Yeah. And I think that is the last chapter. Going through them, I think this will definitely be a really, really fun conversation for you, me, and Vogel.
How many movies are there in that run?
It's 20-ish, I believe. It might be a few less than that.
Woo!
But or maybe a few more, but it is definitely it's in that ballpark.
Okay. All right. It's 20 plus. But they're about what, an hour and a half, hour and 20,
hour and 20. They honestly, they really, really fly by.
Does that include credits or before credits? Because I don't pay for credits. So an hour 10.
I think it's including the credit.
So you could do it if you wanted to, and you wanted the power. You could do it in a day. You could probably do it in a day.
Physically, it's possible.
Yeah, physically, it's possible.
I don't. I think it's like those. Marathons that they would do before an Avengers movie would come out. Like, we're gonna watch all the MCU movies. It's like, I love the MCU. That's a terrible idea.
Agreed. I think just to let you guys know, my girlfriend and I finally agreed on 2 shows we're going to do on stereo. By the way, Shannon, I need to get you on stereo, on the stereo app, and Vogel too, so we can have conversations.
What is it? I've seen you guys text about it.
It's basically an app called Stereo. You log into, or you just sign up for it. You pick create your avatar, and me and you can have a conversation for like an hour about whatever geek or film stuff or anything we want to talk about. And people who are listening send in voice messages to ask us questions or to talk to us about whatever it is. It's really fun. I just did my first one the other day with Brett Sheridan, and we had a really great time for an hour, and people just sending in comments that like kind of asking you questions or whatever. And apparently it's like just so much more easier, and you're notified if people follow you, they're notified that you are doing a live show. And so people come in and they'll record messages. Then you play those messages and me and you react to what people are saying or asking us. So it's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really painless. It's really painless. So if you sign up, I'll get Vogel to sign, and then you and Vogel can have your conversations as well separately as a thing, and people can send in questions. So it's just, you can do it with anybody really. And so I'm trying to get Steve on it as well, so we can do occasional conversations about movies on there as well. It's a way of expanding the brand out too. So just a suggestion. Right. Yeah,
sure.
Be kind of fun. All right, let's see here. Have we got any more Streamlabs? Or thanks, Sean. Sean put the list of the DC movies in order in the chat, in the private chat. Really appreciate that, my man. Please, ladies and gentlemen, send in your Streamlabs super chats. We're about to wrap up the show here in about 20, 25 minutes, depending on what you send in. Was hoping to get to 100 so we could get to Shannon telling you guys how we met, and then hoping to get to 200 so that we could tell. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on this Comic-Con story. It's an incredible Comic-Con story. All right, Maria, you're in the chat. What's up, Maria? How are you? Maria,
hi, how are you guys?
McClung. Shannon, this is Maria. Hi.
Hey, how's it going, Maria?
I've never met any famous actors except a few from this situation.
Oh, boy. Well, you still haven't.
Don't cut yourself down. That's our job. I keep telling people that. The reason I wanted to step in here is I recommended a movie to John last week or whatever. I just want to know if he's watched it yet.
What movie was that? Say it again.
What's Up, Doc?
Oh, right, the 1970s one. Yes, I have not watched it yet, but I will be watching because Royko's on my ass about it too. So I will definitely be watching it. Yeah.
That's right. I forgot.
So sometime this weekend.
You know that movie, Shannon?
You know What's Up, Doc? It's in color. It's in color, Shannon.
Yeah.
I have heard of it. I have not seen it.
It is written by Buck Henry, so that tells you kind of what you're going to get into, and it's hilarious. So.
Yeah,
you might want to try it. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to harass him because I just can't have enough of that. So it's nice to meet you. You guys, I love Geek Buddies. I told him.
Tell him how much you love the show because he doesn't hear it.
I tell you what, when I first was listening to it, when you guys were, I don't know, one of the first episodes, I'm like, well, we'll see. And then, and then your personalities start to come out. I can tell who Michael is. I know him. Mm-hmm. I know him very well, and I can figure him out instantly. I'm like, he's over there the whole time like this. I've got something to say. Hurry up. I want to contradict you. There's something I have to tell you right now that's very important. I love him. And you're good. You're always laid back. You're kind of like, they kind of like go, hey, what do you think? And you're like, well, And John is always, I believe this incredible thing that couldn't be true. There's 7 Wandas and they're coming from different universes and you're all like, okay. Your faces are priceless. Emma, I haven't always watched Emma, but she's killing it on this thing. I mean,
she's doing a great
good
job.
group. Yeah. I mean, I haven't watched Laura Kelly. I don't think I've seen only one of those, so I didn't really give her a chance. But I really think you guys are doing great. It's so much fun to watch. It's my favorite show that John does. And the 80 that, you could, any time of day I can flip in here and go, okay, what is he doing today? Let's see. 30 minutes here, 20 minutes here, go down here to 30. SEN Live for 2. Well, anyway, I really enjoy the show, and you're a great part of it. And don't let anybody tell you you're not, because it's the 3 of you together.
Yeah.
It's not just each one of you separately, because John does a good job on his own. I'm sure you're a great actor. I apologize. I don't watch those sitcoms anymore. I'm YouTube mostly all day, but I think it's really great, and I think you guys are killing it, and I hope that you go for a long time, because I listened to the WandaVision one again last night because I was like, I missed something in the middle. So
thank you. That's awesome.
Bored,
Thank you very much, Maria.
I'm a very old person and I have nothing to do. So good. All right, goodbye.
All right, thank you.
Both. Thank you.
Good to see you, Maria. She's awesome. Love having her as part of the Outlaw Nation Patreon, part of the Outlaw Nation period as a community. She's been fantastic. Let's bring in Charles Clark. What's up, Charles? Say hi to Shannon.
Hi, Shannon. How are you?
Hello, Charles.
I hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing pretty good. I just jumped in, so I have no idea what you guys have been talking about. So that's a great way to start. So I have like a couple questions in my head.
Okay.
But can you do a quick recap of like what you talked about, just so I'm not like asking the questions you guys might have already answered?
No, I tell you what. Why don't you ask your questions, because and we'll let you know if we've answered it or not.
Okay.
And there may be a way that you're asking it that gives us a little bit of context. We can answer it in a different way. So go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So I have, I guess, one question and then one WandaVision theory that I want to get your guys' take on. So the question, Shannon, I know you work in animation, so I wanted to know. how you feel. Where do you think the line is drawn between live action and animation in terms of these Disney live action remakes? Because like when I think of The Lion King, which I'm not going to see because I like the original a lot, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to watch this new one and have the same feelings I watched when I was a kid. So I was like, but when I look at it, I'm like, okay, unless if they're in a physical like area and then just shooting, that's all animated, right? Am I wrong? Is that a hot take?
For Lion King, yes. Like, okay. I don't believe there was any live action shooting for that. Everything was pretty much done within the computer. In terms of like the rest of them, it kind of depends. Like some of those films are so beloved that it's like if you're a big fan of, say, Aladdin, you don't really want them to mess with it. But if they do make it, you don't want a carbon copy of what came before. And I think that's the issue that a lot of people had with Lion King is they didn't bring anything new to it. It literally, I mean, there were some shot for shot sequences in it. I have never been like, I enjoy the Disney feature films. Like I grew up on them, but they're not so precious to me that I don't have an issue if they change something. I mean, I think some of the changes that they did do to Aladdin specifically, that movie turned out for me great. Like I liked it a lot too. Going into that summer, everyone expected Aladdin to be not so good and Lion King was going to be, the masterpiece, and it was completely the opposite. Everyone really liked Aladdin, and the things that they changed made it work for a live action feature.
I agree, especially like having not seen it, but just like looking at the trailer and whatnot. With the animals in the Lion King, it's just like they can't emote as well as you can in the animation.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that
the Uncanny Valley is there. Yeah.
Yeah. So the second thing, really quick, WandaVision theory. Taylor Haywood is a Skrull. What do you guys think of that?
You mean Hayward? Is that his name? Yeah.
The director.
The director.
Yes,
the
certainly,
director in charge of Sword.
Yeah, certainly I think we mentioned it on the review, the possibility. Well, I mean, we've been saying he's a bad guy. Mikey thinks he's a really bad guy. Emma thinks he's just a normal bad guy. But, Shannon brought up the fact that his last name connects to someone who was with Hydra and one of the first super soldiers under Hydra on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So there is a possibility that he is a Skrull. But, didn't we already see that, though, at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, that the people working on Sword were Skrulls? So it wouldn't be that much of a jump if it was a Skrull, to be honest with you. But, that's not necessarily a negative, is it? Or did we saw? Oh, what was it? Yeah, right? Isn't that right?
Well, they are doing Secret Invasion.
Yes.
So, and we don't know what the conflict is yet going to be for that. But
right.
If, let's say, there is an evil faction of Skrulls.
Yeah.
He could, I just thought evil Skrull in place where they're developing super advanced weapons for Earth.
Right.
Kind of key. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So absolutely. What do you think, Shan?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible. I mean, I think it's kind of to what end? Like, what if he happens to be a Skrull and he was also experimenting on Vision's body and he's not like a Talos Skrull. He's one of these bad guys that we're going to meet further down the line in the Secret Invasion. That there are certainly story possibilities there. But I think in terms of what WandaVision is, he doesn't seem like he's definitely one of the antagonists, but he's not a character that I feel like we have a lot riding on at this point. Outside of what he is going, his story responsibilities. I don't think he's the character that you take and spin off into something else.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not saying necessarily for spin-off because he's kind of a one-note character right now. He's the dude in charge of the area, right?
Yeah.
Like that's his thing. I just thought about it because, not just because of that, but also when he has that first interaction with Monica, she's like, you were the only one for the choice. They seem to have this mutual respect. Yeah. And then immediately when they go into that briefing scene, it felt like he was very dismissive. it's almost felt like not a complete 180, but like, I don't know. It just kind of felt like that kind of vibes where I was like, huh. Because
well, to me, it felt like she was respecting the position.
Yeah.
And he is respecting the legacy that is Monica Rambeau. But we also have to remember he's been in this job for 5 years.
Right.
And so going into those briefings, it's not right the way he addresses people, but I don't think that necessarily lends itself to something larger. I think this could be a boss anywhere.
Yeah, this could be interesting too, to explore like how he got into this position, what happened to Maria, like how did that all go down? How did she actually die? And then of course cancer and all that, but how did she get the cancer? Was she exposed to something in the astronauts program? Was Hayward responsible in some way without knowing? Or was he responsible on purpose? I don't know. And so the years that he's been in charge while Monica's been blipped, what has he been doing? Like, what has he been activating? And where's Nick Fury in all of this? That's my question here. Because, he's up in space. And so, but I mean, Nick wouldn't be like, I'll just handle it. I'm going to be chilling up here in the stars. I think Nick would have a little more, because he's an uber control freak, Nick Fury. And so I think he'd have more in-depth knowledge or input about what's happening, especially something as massive as this that's connected to the Avengers through Wanda and Vision. I just feel like he'd be involved here in some way, shape, or form. So I'm wondering why we haven't seen him yet.
That's another theory. He's like, he could be a Skrull and be a good Skrull and just be the guy who like is calling back to the space base and be like, so guys, this is what's going on. I don't know if you guys want to come down here. We got Avengers involved. Like, Nick, these are your people. What's going on? What's going on, bro?
Yeah, right. And don't be surprised when we find out that Nick's been preoccupied or Nick's out in space on some mission with Captain Marvel. Because remember, she's been referenced here in the last episode, and it wasn't a positive reaction from Monica overall. Not a negative, but it wasn't overall positive either.
She was subtweeting her. I got you.
Yeah,
she was giving her the.
She was shading. She was shading.
She was doing some major shit. There was.
We ain't talking about her right now.
She's putting up a nice big umbrella. Plenty of shade in this area. But yeah, I'm just excited. I think we'll see both of them in Captain Marvel too, and because I think that's where we'll get that background.
Yeah.
So
I think so too.
But that's all I wanted to ask. Obviously, I did listen to that Geek Buddies episode. Shannon, I love you on Geek Buddies. And
thanks,
everyone. Man. So, I just want to hop in, say hi. And
thanks, Charles.
Bye.
I love you there.
Thanks, Charles.
Thanks, dude. It's always good to see you, brother. That's Charles. Let's bring on Brandon. What's up, Brandon? This is Shannon. Shannon, Brandon.
Oh, yeah. I remember Brandon. What's up, man?
No D. No. I'll go on easy.
What's up?
So I'm wondering, because you write for animation, the animated feature Oscar, and I'm kind of two minds on it. I'm glad animated films get the recognition, but do you feel that maybe the giving them their own category may have taken away the ability to get the recognition they really deserve? Because animated films, particularly in the last 20 years, have been some of the best movies of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in a position to argue that point. I mean, it's the same like the best foreign language film that the crossover, like it does happen. Like you had it with Parasite. You had it with that Roberto Benigni movie. What was that one?
Life is Beautiful.
Life is Beautiful. Yes, you do have some crossover. I mean, I do think even now, despite all of the progress that animation has made, not just in technology but in storytelling as well. I do think that there is still a resistance to that on the part of some of the probably older Academy voters.
Yeah.
So I think for the time being, it's great that they have it. But I think as some of that old guard starts to leave and you get some more youthful folks who are making those votes, I do think it's possible that you might see some animated films cross over into that main category, especially with the extra best picture nominees.
Yeah.
That's a good point, because right, a lot of the older folks might say, well, it's cartoons, it's kid stuff.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. It drives me
And
nuts. I mean,
clearly, it's some animated films have been, I mean, good grief, animated movies go way beyond that.
100%.
Ratatouille is one of my favorite.
oh yeah, right.
That's not a kid's film, my goodness.
Right. Right.
That
I mean,
is
it's about discovering your inner kid,
Yeah.
but yes, it's certainly not a kid's film for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's all this stuff. Yeah.
Also, Soul, man, Soul is
Soul's
Soul's
no
an
way kids are going to wrap their heads around that. Yeah.
yeah, it's an incredible film about an emotional journey on both sides. One accepting death and teaching the other to embrace life.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and in death, the one who didn't want to accept life kind of teaches the other one to embrace what he had. So it's just fascinating, that movie. It works on so many levels. And the fact that no one's even considering it for a Best Picture nomination is hilarious to me. People thinking Trial of Chicago 7. Give me a break. Like, no offense, that movie certainly, it was a good movie, but Soul had way more of an impact on me than the Trial of Chicago 7. So it's just like, just my own personal opinion.
And are there any Oscars you think that we're missing that they should be a category for, but there isn't?
Oh, good question.
Stunts. Stunt performers 100% need to have a category. Yeah. And I think casting. I think a casting director is a very, very vital position in a film. Yeah. Because you can't hang your entire film's performance on your main cast. Like it has to be populated by people with minor roles. And the director, directors are in there talking about their main cast. They might have people that they've worked with in the past that they want to put in here and there, but casting directors are the ones who, in terms of those supporting roles, those smaller roles, they're the ones putting those choices in front of the director. They're the ones going out and finding those people. So casting and stunts.
I just watched a whole bunch of movies. Mank, Trial of Chicago 7, and One Night in Miami and The Five Bloods, where the casts are incredible.
One Night in Miami, I think, is my favorite thus far.
Yeah. Wow. And I think that might be setting itself up to win Best Picture, actually.
Yeah. It's a damn good movie. I got to see Nomadland. Nomadland.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
I'm holding out, and Judas and the Black Messiah comes out this week.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I want to watch that one as well. I got a screener ahead of time. Didn't get around to it, so I'm going to watch it and hopefully review it over the weekend for the channel. But I'm looking forward to that one for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's just. I think another one, and I know no one mentions this, or I've never seen anybody mentions this, and I know people talk about Best Supporting Actor. I don't know if people can wrap their heads around this, but Best Character Actor, I think, would be something to consider as well. And Best Character Actress,
lifetime, isn't it?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I think there are certain characters that don't get like recognition, and they'll do 700 films, but they're a linchpin of those films. Like J.T. Walsh, Emmett Walsh. There are so many great character actors and actresses. Wilford Brimley and actresses who are just like Melissa Leo at times was a character actress and willed her way into positions of Best Supporting Actor or Best Actress. But those actors and actresses that people don't mention enough, or when they see them, they know they are so essential to a movie being considered a good movie. Sometimes a lead actor can crap the bed, but you'll enjoy the character actors that are around them because they're doing great work, And so to me, that needs to be thrown in the mix, and maybe even Best Voiceover, to be honest with you, because I mean, if that's a way to get what's his face an Oscar, Andy Serkis, for what he did for Planet of the Apes, then fine, do that. Because if you're not going to give it a mocap, then at least give it a voiceover. Because Scarlett Johansson in Her was stellar.
Yeah,
stellar. Agreed.
And to your point, I would much rather have a best, vocal performance than mocap, because how many mocap do we get a year?
Yeah, exactly. So the vocal performance cover everything. Yeah, exactly. You're right. Good point. We'll see. All right. Thanks, Brendan. It's great to see you, brother, man.
Thank you, guys. Always good to see you.
Much love to you.
See you, man.
All right. Let's bring in director of such classics as Buckets of Blood on the Beach, Curious George Goes to Italy, and God knows what else he's directed. Alan Smithy.
That's right. That's Blood Beach. Blood Beach.
Sorry, Blood Beach.
And nah, I'm just kidding. How's it going? It's good to see you, Shannon. I've been watching Geek Buddies for a while, so I'm glad to finally meet you.
That is a dynamite ball cap that you have on there.
Well, I do direct movies, wink, wink, and you know. As long as you wear the shades, you have a beard, and you have the hat, then people buy that shit, you know. I've never really directed anything. Don't tell me that, but anyway. But you know, Shannon, it's been awesome listening to all your stories. And I mean, 16 years old is the way to start in this business. Rocha was obviously like way too late, you know? No.
Yes, true.
Well, yeah, Hollywood wasn't around in the mid 1800s. So
there it is. There it is. True. They all take the shots. Not a wrinkle on this face. They all take the shots. Come on.
See, if he was really born in 1800, I would have been born in 1806. So I can't really complain too much about. I can't make those age jokes that much. But anyway. But I was going to say, Shannon, obviously you are a success and you have a ton of credits and experience. I am having a day in the social media world where I'm just bombing. Bombing left and right, you know. I bombed in front of, and this Rocha will probably know more about this, but yeah, I threw in a comment on that stereo app and it was on Harloff and Brett.
Yeah.
Total bomb.
Man.
But Shannon, you're a human being as well as a successful actor. So you can tell us, and you know, let's keep it fun. Don't make it depressing or anything, but cheer me up and tell me about a time when you felt like you might have bombed.
Oh boy. Okay.
I thought you saw that coming.
Well, I needed to go through the Rolodex of all the times that I've bombed because it's been more than one.
The most fun time that you bombed. The most fun time that you bombed. Dang.
Oh yeah.
We could just throw this question at Rocha instead if you want.
So the VO story about, you know, I had written an episode and I got myself cast in one of the roles. That was fun because, you know, again, I had written the character, and then to have someone else who outranked me by leaps and miles, to have someone else tell me what my character that I wrote is actually saying, I'm like, so that was fun. But there was a show that I did a few years ago called Code Black that was on CBS.
Oh yeah, Code Black.
And so I was cast, like, basically it's a big hospital scene. This was one of the worst.
I love these stories.
Days. So they were trying to do a little 3-card Monty where there's a scream in the hospital waiting room. This woman in a bride's dress who is all kind of like cut up and bloody. She's running into, like, limping into the waiting room. She's looking behind her, and there's me, and I'm in all like these tore up clothes. I've got an axe. The joke is the cop at the hospital pulls his gun on me. I put my hands up, I drop the axe, and it bounces. And it's like we've been at a zombie convention, and there's been a big accident. Right. So when I got my makeup, I'm fully green. Like, the makeup looked amazing, but I'm like, there's no way these people no one's gonna believe that this is real. Come on, like that just doesn't make sense. And it's the type of situation where the director, who was this very storied procedural director, he'd done like 100 episodes of Law and Order. Like, he was a big deal. He's still not the executive producer. Like, he's still not the boss. The guy who wrote my episode was also the showrunner, so he carries a lot of weight as well. So as we're going in, they're telling me what they want, but as an actor, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. So I'm doing my best to accommodate their request. Well, then the director comes up, he gives me a note. I try to do the note. The executive producer comes up, he gives me a note. I try to do, and they're conflicting notes. So I'm going back and forth. And when you have a situation where there are over 100 extras, you have crew all over the place that just want to get to their lunch break, and the scene keeps being stopped because of you. Right. It's the type of situation where you just want to die. And I don't know if you're a religious man. I grew up religious, and I'm like, Lord, either get me through this or kill me, because at this point I can't do it anymore. And finally, the director pulled me aside, and he acknowledged the situation, and he was like, listen, I realize too many people are telling you too many different things. When you go here, do this. When you go here, do this. When you go here, do this. We're not getting your face. We're only getting your feet. I'm like, oh, why didn't you tell me that from the beginning?
Oh man, like
because that makes the justification in my head, in my dumb actor brain, that makes it so much easier. So after that, I mean, I had to come back another day. Like I had another day on the shoot, and I thought for sure, I'm like, oh, they are gonna just hate seeing me when I come back in. And like we the next scene that I had to do, I was supposed to walk on camera and say the line. So I walked on, said the line, cut. And the director comes up. He's just like, action, say the line. And I'm like, okay, wow, you got it. So he said action, said the line. The rest of the day, he's massaging my shoulders. And I don't know if he thought like, okay, I overreacted. or the fact like, oh, just tell the guy what he needs to do and he will do it. Right. So that was one of my bombing stories.
Did it go like that for you today, Smithy?
For me, well, all the people that are watching me, I can't see any of them, so I don't have to worry about that. Smart, but you know they're there. See, that's the thing where you're like, well, there's 100 people watching, and I just totally, I can't tell if I bombed really, because some of these situations, you're like, it's hard to tell on social media what's right. That's why like Ellis doesn't want to do comedy shows online and stuff like that.
Yeah, people forget in 24 hours. Don't even sweat it, Smitty. That's
hey, I suggested Poltergeist as a good movie on a show, and Josh McClung freaked out. He was like, no, that movie's terrible. Don't watch that. And it was on the Good People Association show. No. So I was like, what the flip? But so there were a few moments today, a few moments.
Oh, all right.
But anyway,
I respect it. Well, Shannon, thanks for coming in, Smithy.
Do you like Poltergeist, Shannon?
Poltergeist as a franchise scarred me as a child. So to get me to watch Poltergeist again would take a minor miracle.
All right. But you watched the whole franchise. So
I watched all three of them.
Yeah. So something about it worked and you kept coming back for more. So all right.
That's for sure. All right, Smithy. Thanks, man. Great to see you, brother, man.
Hey, by the way, Brother Lomas followed me on Twitter.
Oh, good.
And he's on the Finstock Exchange.
Yes, he is.
And so are
you. Yeah.
Just saying, you know.
What are you saying?
That he followed me on Twitter. He followed me on Twitter.
We've got a full staff on the exchange.
Yeah.
Are you trying to get on the exchange? Is that what you're asking me? Or are you saying I need to follow you is what you're saying?
Well, other people in the Schmodown follow me. Ben Bateman follows me.
Oh, Ben Bateman will follow anybody.
Andrew Guy follows me. Kaiser.
Oh, that's good stuff. That's good.
That was shameless. Come on, Rocha. I thought that's how you get ahead in this business. You shamelessly ask for people to subscribe.
Not publicly.
Come on. I threatened to kill Mr. Jingles. Did you get a stream? Did you get a Schmobot from Mr. Jingles the other day?
That was really funny. That was a good Schmobot. What did I ever do to you?
What's up? Nothing. It was Mr. Jingles. It's a cat. Anyway. All right. I'll let the attention get back to Shannon as it should be. And good to meet Shannon. And I'll see you guys in the future.
Sounds good, Smithy. Much love, man. He's awesome. All right. We got real quick one Streamlab here. This is from Christine. Tip for the WandaVision tinfoil theory gang. Because I want to hear the story as a huge fan of the Geek Buddies. I'm so happy to see Shannon as tonight's special guest. Yeah, for sure. We didn't get close to 200, so sadly we won't be able to hear that story. Maybe Shannon will save it for another time to talk about the Comic-Con. We did cross 100. So if you want to tell the story of how we met real quick, I know we're over time here, Shannon, so we'll only have a few minutes. Sorry about that. But please tell me.
So basically, the first time I met John Rocha was in 1999 in Universal Florida, or at Universal Florida. I was performing at Halloween Horror Nights in Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure. For anyone that has been to Halloween Horror Nights, whether in California or Orlando, that's their show that they do where they kind of use characters from the past year's pop culture, current events and movies, and they throw them in a big satirical dancing stunt show. So I was playing Austin Powers this year. So Vogel and I had kept in contact. It had been 2 years since I left Florida State, and so I had heard all these stories, about this Rocha guy. Not just from Vogel, I think from Josh Moon as well, who was another friend of ours. So after the show, they came down, and again, it was just, you see someone that you're meant to be friends with. I was like, no one even had to tell me that's Rocha. I'm like, that's him. So Mike introduced us. John was not nearly as taken with me as I was with him. He was more focused on the young lady playing Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I mean, I'm a single guy. I'm a young man.
Hey, yeah, nice to meet you. Hey, what's Buffy's story? What's going on with her? So we didn't see each other again until I think right before I left for Japan. So it would have been like 2002, something like that. And at that point, Rocha lived with Vogel, and they lived with their buddy Ian as well. And again, like for someone that I had seen 2 years before, it was just like watching an eclipse coming into the home of John Rocha. But yeah, we super bonded. I mean, I went to go meet someone at a restaurant, and for some reason I was just like, John, what was it? Saddle Ranch. I was like, John, I'm going to Saddle Ranch. Can I get you anything? And half kidding. And Rocha not only asked for something, he was incredibly detailed. Yeah, with what he wanted. It was some sort
exactly what I want. People are like, well, if they ask you, you should just do the bare minimum. I'm like, no, if you're gonna ask, I'm gonna tell you what I want. Because I mean, you're asking at a place of kindness. If you're asking for show, don't ask. That's the way I feel about it.
I was not. I mean, I brought you the food.
You did. You did. It's like that one time we were at Thanksgiving. We used to do it at our friend Vicky's house, and she said her and her husband Paul, they said, please, every year they complained all night how last year people didn't take any food. Please take some food. Blah blah blah. So at the end of the night, and listen, this was back in my poor days, and not that I'm rich now, for God's sakes, but I'm surviving. But back in my really poor days, and where I was like at times borrowing money just to pay rent, which was a tough time. They said to me, take whatever you want. I'm like, great. There was a like 3/4 uneaten full turkey that no one was taking. So I put that in a to-go container, and then I just shoved a bunch of stuff, and I walked out, and they were just like, oh, wow. Rocha really took leftovers. I'm like, yeah, you're going to complain all night that no one took your food last year. I'm going to take your fucking food. I'm going to fill up. And I lived off that shit for a week. It was good food. It was good eatings.
Should I throw one Universal story?
Sure. Throw in one Universal story. Do it.
Okay.
If you got time.
Yeah. When I was getting ready to leave for Universal Japan, so Universal Florida, Universal Japan, Universal Hollywood, they're three separate companies. Like they all have common investors, but they are three separate companies. So as I had been cast at Universal Japan, and I knew I was I was on my way out. Yeah. One of the characters I played was prosthetic Lord Farquaad from Shrek, which is I'm just loading bullets into the gun for John right now to make a short joke. But I had this enormous appliance to give you the jaw, and there's a big part on your forehead, and there's the giant red hat, and the makeup looks incredible. And it was it was a fun character to play. But I was having kind of an off day, and a group of very Florida-looking people, and I say this as a Floridian. A lot of dudes with shirts off and the farmer's tan, and guy with a very pronounced belly. He looked at me as I was leaving, and I'm like, yes, and goodbye. And he looked at me, he's like, man, that is fake, pointing at the jaw. And I went, yes, well, that's real, and I can take mine off. And I hit it. I grabbed him in the belly button when I said that, and then I promptly skedaddled. And I heard him go, "What? What'd the king say?" Yeah. And then my escort was like, "I don't think you're supposed to do that." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I'm going to Japan. It doesn't matter."
Right. Listen, when you work in a theme park, you get stories. You get stories because human beings are. out of their motherfucking minds at theme parks. No offense, but human beings get fucking nuts at theme parks. And I understand, look, if you're a dad or mom, the last place you want to bring your children is a theme park, but you have to. And they are all over the place. You bring the teenagers that don't want to talk to you and they want to run off and like hide away with their phones in the candy shops and eat all that crap or, do it. It's so, it's such an experience. Yes, I know the commercials make it seem like it's beautiful. And there are families who show up and have a great time.
Sure.
Because they have disciplined children. The parents understand what's happening. They're in charge of it. But most of the times you'll find that a lot of these people want you to essentially co-parent their child for the time that they are within the confines of the park.
Yes.
And the crazier part of it is the nighttime, which is the Halloween horror nights, when they let people drink like a motherfucker and come into the park drunk. And this is when the young, stick out the chest trying to show everybody they're a man kid show up, and the loud, obnoxious young people show up, male and female, by the way, male and female,
sure,
both come in and try to start some shit with people in the park, performers. And then, let me tell you something about performers that do Halloween Horror Nights. Most of them are not paid great wages. They just love doing it because most of them are into horror. Most of them are into those horror movies, and they love dressing up as these characters from horror movies. They love scaring people. They enjoy the genre of horror and the aspect of horror. I did one Horror Nights season, and it was a hell of an experience for sure. But I did it my way because I was not one of those people that was like scaring people that could get punched in the mouth. I was paid a higher rate. I played a character, and I got to mess with people verbally from a box, from a podium. I got to mess with people, which was great. But the other people, I just feel bad for some of the shit they experience. And there's like people come in looking to fight. People come in looking to threaten people sometimes. It is a hell of an experience, Halloween Horror Nights, for sure. And for sure. People get crazy, man. People get crazy.
True.
Yeah, speaking of crazy, let's bring in our last live guest, and then we're going to get on out of here. Calvin! What's up, Calvin?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, you look great, man. I love it. What's up?
You can hear me? Cool. What's up, Rocha? How you doing? Horse and all that jazz. So Shannon, now if you were given the opportunity, I got a few questions. I'm sorry.
You got a few? All right.
Yeah, I got a few. Well, I mean, this first one is very obvious.
Yeah.
If you were given the chance to play Wolverine, which I think you would be perfect for, would you do it?
No, I'm not that guy, Calvin. I'm not that guy.
Are you kidding me?
That is energy.
I would love it if I were that guy. I am not that guy. There are.
You'd be perfect, dude. You said you're like 5'6".
I am 5'6".
You'd have to grow your hair out a little bit, but anyway, you'd be perfect.
Well, Calvin, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And also, the thing I want to know: what episode of Workaholics was you on?
Do
you know the name of it?
You know what? I can find it real quick. All I got to do is go to my IMDb and.
All right. Well, while you do that, I want to give a shout out to Canada Rocks Ryko. Today's his birthday.
Oh, that's right.
So, yeah.
Happy birthday,
Today's his birthday. Yeah, Ryko. Today's his birthday.
Entering in the second century of life. Congratulations, Royko.
It is season 5, episode 10, and the episode 10. The title is Trivia Pursuits.
Write it down.
All right. I am writing it down, Rogue. I'm writing it down right now.
See how hard is that, Sean? He says yes, and he writes it down. How hard is that?
I got my notepad.
See?
I got my notepad and everything. I got my pencil. All right, trivia. I got you. Okay, I'm going to have to look that one up. Anyway, okay, now, the last thing I was going to ask was, I've seen an interview with Paul Bettany, and and he was all talking about, he's like, yeah, I'm so excited to work with this person. He's talking about the end of the season of WandaVision. Right. He's like, I'm so excited to be working with this person. He was like, I've always wanted to work with this person. And And then he was like, well, I'm saying too much. He's like, they're going to come get me. You know what I mean? I think it couldn't be, he's not talking about Evan Peters.
No.
Evan Peters is not on Paul
No
Bettany's
offense to
level.
Evan Peters, but no one's like crazy excited
Well,
about
no. Yeah, no shade on Evan.
No shade on
him.
Evan.
I love Evan.
Right.
But I think he's talking about Benedict Cumberbatch,
Oh,
Doctor Strange.
all right.
I think Strange is going to come in the end. At the end,
That's
I think
certainly
he might
possible.
come in.
I mean, if they've said before, Shannon, it's connected to the multiverse of madness, so it wouldn't be surprising.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have been talking about Cumberbatch for a while, that he was probably going to show up in some capacity, and that this would, kind of springboard into the Doctor Strange sequel, and probably now the third Spider-Man film. Because that rumor has been out there so long, I'm crossing my fingers that it's actually somebody else. I don't know who
Really?
it could be. I have no idea.
Right.
If we do get to meet Mephisto, I'm assuming that will be that they will cast someone noteworthy.
Yeah.
Now I'll throw you another thing.
Okay.
I think that maybe Pietro Quicksilver is Mephisto, and I'll tell you this because remember when they were arguing, and when Vision and Wanda was arguing. Okay, in the doorbell rings, and she's like, "I didn't do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's because Vision's figuring out what the hell's going on here.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so they're clashing. Okay.
Yeah.
So then Mephisto, disguised as Pietro, rings the doorbell to be like, hey, wait a minute. You know what I mean? Because it's getting too close. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
They're figuring it out. And so he comes in and he's going, I don't know. I could be totally wrong. I probably am. But
no, Calvin, not at all.
right.
A lot of people have thought that. A lot of people have said that they think Mephisto, I mean, even John Rocha has talked about Mephisto shape-shifting into other people. Oh,
I didn't see y'all's episode.
Oh, well, maybe you should watch it. It's 2 hours. 2 hours.
I'll write that down.
Write it down. We're over
Geek
17,000 views on that review, and that's a good thing. So please watch it, Calvin. Get us to 18,000.
I'll write it down. I'm going to watch it. Actually, Aisha told me to watch it, I think.
Oh, good. Aisha's
I got to watch
very
it.
supportive of the stuff we do. So, thank you. Yeah, definitely watch. Yeah, that's what I said, Calvin. I don't think that was Wanda who came out of the energy field. I think that was Mephisto. Shape-shifting as Wanda. I think Wanda consistently tells us, she's consistently telling us, I don't know what's happening here. I'm not in control.
Wait a minute.
What I'm doing for us. She is being manipulated, and I think Mephisto is inside her mind, or just creating the scenario around her to make her stay in this situation. And when anything comes close to threatening her or exposing the situation, they're immediately jettisoned. Yeah, right. Monica was jettisoned by Wanda. In my opinion, when you come back to Wanda after she's jettisoned Monica, she is like looking at herself like she's surprised at the level of the powers that she used. But look at the threatening face she had with her. And then when she comes
you
out,
don't belong here.
You don't belong here, right? And then when she comes out with the drone, she's dressed just like she was in Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, and she's got the accent.
She's got the accent, which is what Mephisto might think these people need to hear to think that it's actually Wanda. Throws the drone over there and turns the guns. Hey, so in my mind,
now wait a minute. Now wait, whoa. I keep going, but wait a minute. That fucking where she turns the damn guns. That's Magneto.
That's Magneto.
Fucking Anyway,
Michael brought up on the review. Surely, yeah, absolutely. So to me, in my mind, I think there's more here, and some shape-shifting stuff is happening. If not, at least Mephisto is inside her mind and controlling her in some way and getting her to use her powers in a angry way when it's threatening the control he's trying to have inside here. But there's but I could be 1,000,000% wrong, and there's probably ways.
Yeah, I know. Me too. With Pietro.
That's the fun thing about the show. But yeah, I think he brought Pietro in, or maybe even shapeshifted into Pietro to stop the fight because Vision was getting too close to figure out what was happening here. And that's going to happen. Remember, it's happening shorter and shorter. Every episode.
Yeah, because I think there's only 9
figuring it out
episodes.
quicker and quicker. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's only 9. Between all these things that everybody's been throwing out, I mean, not just you or me or Shannon or whatever, or Mike, somebody's got to be right. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Like that one guy. I think somebody. I'm serious. I mean, something's got to stick. Anyway, that's the thing about. Somebody was talking about weekly versus binging. I love this weekly stuff. Just like with Mandalorian, I like this weekly stuff. Yeah. I mean, that's the way. You old as Methuselah, Rocha. You know, that's how we watch TV. Yeah. When we were growing up, that's how we watched TV. None of this fucking binge bullshit was going on. That's how we watched TV.
But also, there doesn't have to be one way or the other. We can have both. Certain shows are good for binging, like Cobra Kai. Other shows are better for taking it weekly, like WandaVision. There's not a lot of depth going on in Cobra Kai. You can figure that out.
No.
WandaVision needs more time to percolate. There's a joy in that. Nerds and geeks love figuring shit out. Yeah. So dropping it weekly, like Mandalorian, makes the most sense. Yeah.
I'll tell you what I do with WandaVision.
Yeah.
As soon as I watch it, I immediately watch it again. Yeah. Immediately watch it again.
Same.
You know what I'm saying?
Same.
Because I have to.
Yeah.
And then I'm on the verge waiting for next week, man. That's good television.
That's true.
That is good television.
1,000% agreed. All right, thanks, Calvin. It's always great to see you, man. You look great. You got your audio working great. It's good to see you, brother. Much love.
Yep.
Old as Methuselah. I'm gonna kick him in the face next time I see him. I love you though. I love you though, Calvin. I love you. All right, let's get out of here, Shannon. You've been so kind with your time. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Oh, Justin Toler said, great show, guys. Thanks, Shannon. I don't know if you went over this in the reviews, but what do you think of the theory I've seen online that the witness protection person Jimmy Woo was looking for is Simon Williams / Wonder Man? That would be a cool reveal. Oh, shit. That could be true. Could be true. I like that idea. I don't think it's that. Yeah,
I think whoever is in the witness protection program, I think we're going to meet them.
Yes.
I don't know in what capacity, and they have to be somebody. That's my guess.
Yeah. I think it's the mailman, but I don't think the mailman is Wonder Man. So we'll see. We'll see. But tune in. If you haven't watched our Geek Buddies review, it's up now for you all to watch. Of course, we'll be doing another one this weekend to drop it. Maybe if the timing works out for us on Friday, we might record it Friday night and drop it for you Saturday morning so more people can get on board of the train. If not, we'll do it at our regular time of 10 a.m. We'll re-record it and then drop it as soon as possible around noon or 1 p.m. Shannon McClung, thank you so much for joining me here tonight on the Outlaw Nation Show. It's always great to hang out with you, my brother. And we 2 hours and a half flew fucking by, man. Incredible. Mind-blowing. Please plug everything. Where can people find you? Everything that's going on, my man.
Yeah, if you'd like to follow, I immediately launched into the Geek Buddies speech. Yeah. If you'd like to follow me on social media, on Twitter, it's at Shannon_McClung, on Instagram at Shannon the Geek Buddy. If you would like to go to my Facebook fan page, which is facebook.com/Shannon McClung fan page, and give that a like. I have not done anything. I put our Geek Buddy stuff on there, but I got yelled at the other day by one of my reps. It's like, you've not been focusing on that very much. So yes, if anyone would like to go there and give it a like, you would make my agent and manager so happy.
There you go. Well, thanks so much, Shannon. I'll let you go and I'll close the show. So feel free to go on with your night. Thanks so much for joining us here, brother. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. And
yes, you will, brother, man.
For Geek Buddies. Take care, my man.
Bye, brother.
All right, that was Shannon McClung hanging out with us here tonight on the Outlaw Nation channel for 2 hours and a half. I'm sure he had to go to the bathroom at some point, but he was very kind to stay on with us. So I love Shannon to pieces. This was a blast. Thank you all so much for joining us live. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the Streamlabs and the Super Chats. We didn't get to 200. I was hoping we get to 200 so Shannon could tell you guys that great Comic-Con story. But sadly, we didn't get there in time. But at least you heard how we met, and he gave you a couple of Universal stories tonight. For sure. Maybe next time he comes on, we'll have a fun. Maybe we'll do a fun Comic-Con stories night with me, Mike, and Shannon. maybe even bring Kalinowski in to talk about our times and our travels and our experiences there in Comic-Con, because they are certainly a lot of fun. So I thank you all so much. Please don't forget, Geek Buddies drops tomorrow. I've got there's no The Jedi Way this week. We'll be back on the 24th with a full-on live episode. Maybe go 2 hours on The Jedi Way there to make up for not having an episode this week. Laura's got to focus and study for her match against Molly Damon in the Schmodown. So that is what she is doing. Remember, that's a live pay-per-view next week, I think it is happening. So don't miss out on that. It's going to be a great match between those two ladies. And also got Impolite Shoots coming up on Thursday. Got a Strong Style, a pro wrestling show coming up on Friday. And the WandaVision reviews mentioned numerous times here. I'll be on SCN Live tomorrow. I'll be on SCN Live on Friday. And I'll be doing more of the studio stuff. Really had a great time in the studio. So follow me on the studio app at the same place you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, at The Rocha Says. That's where I'm at. I'm verified there. Apparently you can't do solo shows, so you have to do it with somebody. So, I might be rolling around there doing some stuff. So come and find me on there and turn that bell on, or whoever it is, and it'll let you know that I'm going live with the show. All right. Much love to you guys. Thank you all so much. Be well. Take care of yourselves. Practice social distancing. Wear your mask. Thank you to Sean Barreto for producing the show. And I'll end the show like I always end the show. Please, whatever you need to do to get through the next second, next minute, next hour, next week, next day, rather, next week, next month, next year, please find your way to do that. You never know what's waiting for you on the other side. As a quick example, today I was reading an article about a young Axios reporter who is dating Joe Biden's, I think, chief press secretary, one of the people involved in Joe Biden's campaign or Joe Biden's presidency. She had to relinquish covering Joe Biden because of her relationship with this man. The man a year ago thought Joe Biden was losing the Democratic nomination. He had just been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and he was single as hell. A year later, Joe Biden is president. He has found the love of his life, and his cancer is under control. So you just never know, if you hang on for a year, what can happen in your life. If you just buckle down, take it step by step, moment by moment, you never know what's waiting for you out there. So just sending you all some positive energy and positive love from us here at the Outlaw Nation Show, and all of us here on the Outlaw Nation channel. All right, take care of yourselves. We'll talk to you next week with another brand new live episode of the Outlaw Nation Show. We'll have another brand new guest to come hang out with you guys and tell stories. Peace until then.